me to the company. And the way that I actually got looking at VeVe in the first place is my friend Jen Bartel, who's a comic artist, introduced me to Dan and David. And it was funny, one of the main things that they said when we started talking, it was actually it was a very smooth process, because one of the things they told me right away when I started meeting with them was, hey, the studios keep mentioning your name, so we were going to reach out to you anyway. So it just seemed really natural and symbiotic right off the bat, and it just felt good. I met with, probably almost 10 NFT platforms and a lot of the bigger sort of art ones, and none of them felt like as good of a fit. And I really like a lot of things about the VeVe relationship and what they offer. I really like that it's an affordable price point and there's some usage and utility to them. And it all just felt like a better fit for our customers that are used to sort of these fairly affordable collectibles versus, some of the higher end art marketplaces. So yeah, from the very beginning, I just felt like it was a really nice fit.
Yeah. And do you guys, have you done much in this kind of digital space so far?
No, these will be our first ever NFTs. So
Right. And how much knowledge or experience do you have of sort of the NFT industry? Do you think you guys were going to move this way at some point anyway, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm in pretty deep. And like I said, I had met with a bunch of the platforms. I also, before we started doing the VeVe thing, I helped Khozik with minting some stuff on some platforms, and that we did together. And so I had been dabbling in it on the side, and then just kind of waiting and looking for what the best fit for Mondo would be. And I really didn't take that decision quickly or lightly. I really wanted it to be the right fit. And, I'm sure that you guys have seen some of the social media backlash that artists get and companies get, especially for doing NFTs. And so I really wanted to be sure that the company we went with really had the best answers to those questions. And so the fact that you guys are carbon neutral, the fact that, again, it's affordable and it's a fun thing to use and play with in the showrooms and things like that. Those are all things that felt much better to me than, hey, we're going to sell a one of one for $10,000 and somebody's going to put it away and hope it goes up in value. So we really looked around. I should say, looked around really heavily. And again, this definitely felt like a great fit.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the carbon neutrality. I know that, when we did the first Ultraman release, or Subaraya announced that they were releasing NFTs with us, and I was blown away with the negativity of the comments. People that clearly hadn't done any research, hadn't sort of looked into us at all, didn't really look into the blockchain we were using or how any of that worked, and were just laying abuse at the licensor, saying, because they'd read an article about how damaging to the environment NFTs on Ethereum were, or something like that. So yeah, that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, mate.
Oh, hey, yeah. I was just going to chime in there because Darwin Cook, his widow, even she was against the whole kind of VeVe blockchain platform. And one of my friends, he raised it with me, and he was like, hey, Darwin Cook's never going to have any more NFTs. We have to get those Darwin Cook ones on VeVe. But now, VeVe's come out with the whole carbon neutral stance. Maybe she might change her mind. Who knows?
Yeah. And obviously Mitch has just said he's experienced it with Mondo, and I know that some of the other licensors had kind of gone through the same thing. Everybody needed reassurances at that point that obviously this was a clean technology and it was okay to be doing it. That's just indicative of the wider.
Ooh, I'm a speaker now.
What's that, mate? Someone just chime in. Yeah. Anyway, just indicative of the wider awareness in the industry, I think, and
it is, yeah, and that's one of the main things that I've been trying to engage with our community about, and especially like when I reach out to artists about this, is the fact that not all NFTs are created equal, right?
Yeah.
And I think that people made a lot of assumptions about NFTs in the early days based on how high things were selling for, how weird it seemed, how many sellers there were versus how few buyers there were, and sort of shut a lot of things out. And so I've been able to now approach artists and say like, oh, well, this company has cultivated this massive fan base. You run into people that are excited about this stuff all the time. Like, it feels much more natural and a much more traditional collecting environment a lot of the things that turned people off in the beginning of NFTs.
Absolutely. And especially, I mean, you know, most NFTs are on Ethereum, and a lot of those early Ethereum whales who bought in at, you know, $1 or something like that, like to throw 20, 30, 40 ETH at something for those guys is nothing, you know, and so they drive the prices of these things up, and sure, they may theoretically hold some value, but it really did start to become the greater fool theory, you know, you're pumping the price of these things, hoping that someone else will buy them off you for a higher price, even though most of them really held no real value, no intrinsic value. You know, there wasn't actually engagement there. It was purely based on price speculation, which, you know, I think really obviously sets us apart as well, accessing true fan bases for these brands and really enabling a platform for artists like the guys that you work with to reach a new audience too. You know, like I don't know how many people knew of Khozik or Jermaine or anyone like that, you know, before they saw their name on VeVe, but now, you know, these guys are attracting new fans as well because their work can reach more people.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing to know is, like, it's a really good opportunity for the artists that have done our posters as well, because, like, we work in a pretty, you know, we make screen prints and they're increasingly very expensive to make. So we work in a pretty thin margin business. So, like, artists aren't making tens of thousands of dollars on when we make these posters, right? And so when we're able to reach out to them for an opportunity with VeVe, it's a really nice boost in what they were able to do with this original illustration. And it's been a great way to give back to artists that we've worked with over the years too. So it's been really nice for everyone to be going this direction.
Yeah, 100%. What's the general sentiment when you reach out to these artists? Like, are you kind of going to the artists you've already worked with, or are you?
Yeah, it's artists we've already worked with, and I'm going. And it was really funny. The best way I can sum it up is the first artist that I talked to. I've had to have, you know, decently extensive phone calls with every artist explaining what this is and why it's a good idea, I think. And the funniest thing was the first artist I talked to was like, okay, this sounds like a really good thing and I'm definitely in, but I have a lot of walking back to do with my friends that I told NFTs were the stupidest thing ever. And I would because again, so many people looked at it for a month and saw how crazy and nothing made sense, right? And then they tuned out. And then it's sort of like, oh, well, actually, a lot of the NFT scene has shifted into collectible NFTs that are $150 or less. And then people can kind of wrap their head around it and go, okay, well, I could see how this is fun. And, but yeah, it's been a lot of that. It's been a lot of catching people up on what has happened since early March is generally the sentiment.
Which in crypto is like 3 years.
Yeah, totally.
It's been that much. So, yeah.
And I think a perfect example of that, Mitch, hey, this is Alex, is your reply to a certain artist today that was responding to the news tweet about quote unquote shitty pyramid schemes and earth destroying tech. Like, it is just wildly uninformed at this point. Like, it kind of speaks to what you meant, how quickly this industry has changed. And earlier when we referenced, like, somebody may have read an article that said that NFTs were, you know, bad for the environment, but the entire news cycle since then has changed immensely. So it's exciting to see that brands are coming on board, even though maybe the community is maybe coming a little further behind, but we're excited to get them up to speed.
Totally. Yeah. And it's, you know, everything about this has been really incredible. It's our journey toward VeVe has also, you know, really made Khozik and Jermaine and I connect together a lot closer talking about this stuff. And, you know, we've worked together directly and indirectly for a very long time. So it's just been really nice to see people from our sort of collectible print and toy scene be able to have these opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. So what you're saying is we're going to get some unique collabs coming soon.
I mean,
all you guys.
We're always down.
How good. What moving, like, with all your prints and things moving into the digital realm, I mean, do you have any opinions on the future of kind of the digital space? Do you think that's the world we're headed to? Do you think we're going to live in some hybrid digital physical world? Like, where do you land?
I think it's exactly that. I mean, I think that it's like, if you look at music as a parallel, right? Or movies, right? Like, music, most people stream their music digitally. That said, we sell an incredible amount of vinyl records. And so there are just people that want both or two different things. And the same with movies. Like movies going almost entirely streaming, there's still the Criterion Collection that does high-end, you know, Blu-ray releases with all kinds of extras and things like that and beautiful art. So I truly do think, you know, I'm pretty heavily trading in the NFT world these days, and I also am a very, very big physical collector. So for me, I think a hybrid is what makes the most sense to me, because what people don't understand if you don't do a lot of physical collecting is like the amount of time and energy it takes to collect something, store it, put it up for sale, ship it, assess condition, all those things. I mean, it's a part-time job, and it's just so nice and easy to be able to trade and move things around digitally while still getting that collecting experience. And I think that's why some people will be drawn to each side, but also a lot of people will do both, I think.
Yeah, I think we're really starting to recognize that. You know, a lot of people who found VeVe to start have gone and bought the physical counterpart to their digital collectibles as well, and are starting to dive into that world.
And that's kind of our setup here, right? Because a lot of the things that we are releasing with VeVe, or that we've talked about releasing in the future, are basically new versions of posters that we've released physically. And so we 100%, and same with Khozik and Jermaine, like there is the opportunity there to have both. And I think that'll be really interesting to watch play out.
Yeah. Do you think that, and not to, you know, we're not going to reveal anything here, obviously, but do you think some of those newer pieces, like, are you going to build them more specifically for a digital audience? You know, there's a lot of incredible sort of interactive 3D art that's taking place now, things like that. Or do you think it'll be more of a replica of the physical?
I mean, we're open to all things, right? And so depending on the opportunities and depending on which way, you know, the VeVe creative team wants to collaborate, we're open. I think that's probably the most important thing that we've all learned in this space, right? Is being open. Because if you drill yourself down to one thing and don't leave that in NFTs, everyone here would be creating, you know, 3D motion cyberpunk videos and trying to sell them for $100,000, because that's what NFTs was 4 months ago. So
yeah,
I think being nimble and moving around to what people want is what everyone should be doing in this.
Yeah,
I was literally. Oh, sorry. Go on, Reese. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was literally just going to actually ask that question because quite recently this week, a friend of mine introduced me to something called Axie Infinity, and the artwork is nothing special. It's like these little balloon cats, 2D, whatnot. But I nearly dropped $1,000 on it because it's got this really, really cool, like quite addictive looking gamification layer. It's like level of interactivity on top. So that just made me even more excited about VeVe. We don't have that yet, but when it does happen, the fact that it's managed to make people spend thousands of dollars on 2D cats, I just see, you know, people seeing that, and with all of the licenses on board, it's just going to be absolutely insane. So I was just going to ask Mitch, which you kind of sort of answered is, are you a sort of like traditionalist where you prefer the NFTs just being as, you know, similar to the physicals as possible, or like, would you be open to, like, you know, a new layer of interactivity, gamification, all of the new stuff that you can kind of add utility-wise with the digital world?
Yeah, we're absolutely open. I mean, again, we sort of take our cues from the VeVe creative team as to what they think their audience is going to like, and then we act as sort of the creative agency, you know, and we're happy to do whatever. You know, another thing that we're hoping to get into eventually is, besides posters, we also do a lot of licensed toys and collectibles. This week for Comic-Con, we're putting out an X-Men the Animated Series 6-scale figure of Wolverine that went pretty viral, and so hopefully, fingers crossed for all involved here, we move into some of that stuff too.
That's the meme one, right?
Yeah,
where he's holding the picture and he's like crying.
Yes, as it comes, the packaging is him laying in bed and it comes with a pillow. But yeah, we are in a lot of ways very similar to VeVe on a physical side, and so we're hoping for this to be a really good partnership for sure.
Yeah, I think we're all incredibly excited about it. I did just notice that Dan's in the call too. I don't know if Dan, you want to chime in, give us some insight?
Hey everyone, great to be here. Good to see a lot of familiar faces. Mitch, really exciting hearing you speak today. I'm super excited for the the drop. So it's, as you probably know, it's one that David and I have been working with you for a while to get on. So yeah, really, really excited.
Yes, a lot. I was telling the room earlier, a lot of secrets have been kept.
Yes, for a very long time, and it's always very difficult because everything's so cool that you just want to share it around, but you know that it's probably going to go viral. So thankfully, after the weekend, we'll finally see a lot of AR content and fans just really, really loving the Mondo prints.
I like that you say a lot of secrets have been kept. Really, we just continue to try and keep a lid on David Yu.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not actually sure if it's possible at this stage. I'll confiscate his phone or something.
Oh, it makes me laugh that everyone just trolls his Instagram in the days before a drop to see what happens.
We all know that he's just an attention seeker.
Oh, 100%. That classic guy. Now, I know, Mitch, we've only got you for another 15 minutes or so. So, team, do you guys want to open the floor to some questions for Mitch, and then we can dive into the rest of the chat?
Yeah, let's definitely. If we want to go around the top, Claire, do you want to say hello? I know you were actually excited to speak to the artist, so I want to give you the floor. Everybody knows Claire, the queen of VeVe, one of my very favorites.
No, I suppose to me, and the biggest thing I found is being introduced to artists. It's as if I've gone from being a teenager where I used to drink cider to now going to wine and discovering there's a new world out there when it comes to wine, but also when it comes to artists. And I definitely kind of enjoyed getting to see the art that's been produced and being able to have that opportunity living in Wales to buy it from artists that are 1,000 miles away, and digitally we can do that and be able to hold it. And then to see Frank and now again Jermaine doing rabbits. As a kid, apparently when I was in little school, the teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I was older, and my reply was a rabbit for months. So
we're actually doing this just for you, Claire.
I know, I'm rabbit mad, but it's not going to be...
Wait, I'm already on.
It's not going to be good when it comes to drop with so little mints, because it's going to cost me a fortune, but there we go, we'll cross that bridge. But I mean, what have you... This is to the artists. What have you found the most exciting part of being part of VeVe? And obviously, we've got the best community out there.
Jermaine, you want to take that? I'd love to hear.
Sure. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Jermaine. I should have introduced you a little bit earlier. I saw you down there, but everyone's welcome. Do your
Right on. No, I'm glad to be a part. I know how special. I know how special tribes are. I know how special communities are. So I'm just happy to be a part of a new community and to have new tools. The technology that VeVe offers. Because for me, it's all about the stories, and this is just a new way to tell these weird little stories that I've been cursed with all of my life, and then to have the ability to connect with people, because that's such a real connection. I mean, if you can connect with someone over art, you really no words even need to be spoken. I mean, the connection over art is powerful. I truly believe it's more powerful than any kind of, philosophy or politics or anything like that. So just the ability to connect in a new way with a new community, that's the most exciting thing for me right now.
That's that's a great response. I really like that. I like that, you allude to the ability to access new tools to tell these stories. Because I guess on some fronts, some artists would be resistant to that or hesitant to sort of, to really utilize those things. So, it's that's a nice thing for us to hear as well. I don't know if have we got other artists in here as well? Who else is in?
Khozik.
Yeah, Khozik.
I'll chime in. I mean,
Nice.
for me, the primary thing is, and this goes back to what we were talking about before. It's the future. Okay, so I remember when computers came along, and a lot of artists and artist associates I knew, like, no, this is terrible. This isn't art, and they got left behind because they refused to adapt to a new technology. The internet opened up. I had a website the first day I possibly could in 1995 because, okay, this is like a new technology. This is the future. I grew up reading science fiction, so to me, the concepts of what's happening aren't weird at all. I was just been like, okay, finally, right? I've been waiting for a long time. So the things that I've been into personally for many years, just as a person that is not a technical person, but wants to know what's going on in society and what the future holds, like the fact that not only can now I effectively present my work on this new technology, but I've had the incredible good luck because David is a collector to actually, instead of hooking up with some sort of like pseudo shady outfit that just got it together in the last couple of months because it's a money grab, like the people at VeVe have been working on their platform for at least 3 years that I know of personally. So not only, okay, do I have this entry into the new world and everyone's accepted me and I'm really happy about that, but I can do it with a partner that is actually, I know you guys have got a game plan that runs out into infinity, in your heads, and I know that you're going to act on it. So the fact that like I have that powerful support behind my stuff makes me super relaxed and super happy because I can just concentrate on like giving people fun designs. I don't have to worry about like the back end of it, right? Because I know it'll be done properly, as opposed to somebody else's weird platform that may be around for 6 months and evaporate. I know that the people at VeVe have built something that is that works, that's functional, that's good, that having your own blog. I mean, it's crazy what you guys have done, and I also, I mean, the sort of mercenary part of me understands that, like, okay, cool. I just got in on the ground floor at like Amazon or Google, right? Yeah. So it's like the opportunity to get in on basically what is day one, right? This everyone who's buying this year's mints in 5 years from now, they're going to be worth so much money because you're getting all the rookie cards. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that the long-term possibility, and I like long-term things, right? It's kind of really perfect. And also, it's like it's like I'm giving them the art, and then they choose what they like and they put it up. There's nobody telling me what to do or filtering what I'm doing. I can just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like for a creative person, it's super perfect. Like my silly little designs are backed up by this insane futuristic technology, and it's being exposed to hundreds of thousands of new people. And I'm from the collectibles space. I've made collectibles my whole life. It's the space I like. I'm an inclusionary person. I don't like exclusive artists. I think I don't like that. I want everybody to be able to get my stuff. So for me, if you look at my career, this is sort of like a perfection of the ideals I've been working towards a long time. So I'm super happy on all kinds of levels, and I'm having a good time on Clubhouse. So there's that.
You are a resident on Clubhouse these days.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's Frank Khozik, the man behind possibly the most successful drop that VeVe's had. One of the very most.
Those levits are great.
They're awesome, man.
Yep. I guess we'll keep throwing to the floor.
Actually, I want to. If Rob is available to talk, Mitch is about to leave, and Rob is one of the most knowledgeable guys that I know in all kinds of different art. And maybe he has a quick question for Mitch out the door that might be intriguing or something from the past or something like that. Are you available, Rob, or are you with the family?
I'm here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to say thanks to everyone for joining. Mitch, Jermaine, Khozik, Reese, Dan's still there. This one's kind of just a cool, fun one. So everyone knows Mondo has a massive backlog. So I just wanted to ask Mitch, like, as like a VeVe fan, if you had one specific artist, or I guess let's just say one print that you'd want to see on your showroom, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a big question. That's basically like asking what's my favorite poster. Boy, It's really, really tough question.
You
know, one of the things
I get asked the same thing every week, and yes, very difficult.
I can tell you this: I'm a big horror fan, and one of the things that was most exciting to me when I first got into posters was making Universal Monsters posters for Frankenstein and Wolfman and Dracula and that kind of stuff. So I think, you know, I would love to see more stuff like that come to the platform, just because, you know, I think a lot of the stuff so far has been very kind of superhero-y and things like that, and I do think that mixing up genres would be really exciting moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. If I would say if I had to make one pick, it'd be Martin Anson's Bride. It's probably my all-time favorite.
Absolutely,
but,
that's a great one.
Yeah, good luck at the happy hour, man. Thanks a lot for coming in and talking with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone so much for having us both on the platform, but also in this room in the community. It means more to us than you guys can know, and we're super excited to get this started.
It was a pleasure, Mitch. You are always very approachable and just a real legit dude. Like it's always a pleasure talking to you. So thanks for coming. Enjoy your next time, and who knows, when you're done that, we might still be cranking out here. So
thank you so much, and to the room for the rest of the night, show Jermaine all the welcome. He's been working away at this for his entire career and deserves everything he gets.
Yeah,
so
Jermaine's amazing.
So
We're going to go over. I'm going to make sure everyone. I'm on his website right now, and I've been on there for weeks. I'm going to make sure everybody goes there, and we're going to go all into Jermaine. Thanks for saying that.
Thank you all
Mitch.
so much.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, Mitch.
Now, guys, I know we're going to dive into Jermaine and continue the conversation, but while we've got Dan, maybe we'll just throw a couple of questions his way as well. I know everyone's kind of itching to find out some of the Comic-Con info and what we're going to celebrate this weekend, all those kind of things. Does that suit you guys?
Reese, let's let Mike do a quick reset of the room for all the people that's here. Go ahead.
Sure thing.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the VeVe Collectors Chat. We're here. We just had Mitch Putnam for about 45 minutes. Really exciting stuff. Jermaine Rogers is here. Awesome drop coming Saturday. If you're sitting at your computer, go to JermaineRogers.com right now and scroll through his art just to get yourself a little bit familiar as we get talking to him. We also have Ray Fixie, which we're going to do an awesome AMA. We have so many great guests here, and we're gonna keep this going and keep it firing up. One thing that we did in our NFTcatcher.io clubhouse the other night, we had about 75 people in there, and that room deals with all kinds of NFTs, and we have a lot of people that that didn't have VeVe and never downloaded it. And Cameron and I and a couple of the other guys offered a few collectibles each to people that were downloading the app for the first time. So I'd like to do that now, and Cameron also offered. And I believe Claire and/or Sean offered one or two. I'm sorry if I put you on the spot there, but I have at least 3 or 4 that I'll give. There'll be Murmur Corners, Unicornos, Common DeLorean, stuff like that, but stuff you can play with in the augmented reality. So if you're in the audience and you do not have the VeVe app, go and download it and message Cameron on the side. He said that he would welcome that since I was leading the room. And the first bunch of people that we can get your first collectible to, we will do that. I'll pass that back to Reese, you, and Dan. But welcome, everybody. This is really exciting to have everybody here.
Man, that's such an incredible initiative. And to anyone who does download the app, I mean, welcome to the family. Thanks for being here and for taking part. And thanks to you guys for supporting that in such an incredible way.
It's a pleasure, man. You guys do this community thing right, and we just want to be part of it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really cool, you guys. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure Dan feels the same, but it's just so humbling to hear and see things like that take place everywhere. And it's just one of the things that makes this community so great. You know, everyone's willing to contribute and really to participate. So really appreciate it.
Sorry, can I just say hello to David as well, just in case you haven't seen that he's here.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Sorry I came in late. I had a quite big phone call before, so that was good. All great, moving ahead. Nice. So thanks for having me here.
Nice. Welcome, David. Good to have you here, mate.
Hey, Reese. I think it would be great for you to introduce David and Dan and tell the room about the team and everything like that, so that we can speak with.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. We have a lot of people here that are probably new and learning about VeVe for the first time. So that's a good point. Thanks, Cameron. Go ahead, Reese.
Fantastic. So, well, I'll start with David, our CEO and co-founder, often referred to as a level 9,000 collector. If any of you want to check out his collection and get some little tidbits, look him up on Instagram, DavidUNZ. And Dan, our COO and co-founder, I like to refer to him as the man that gets stuff done. But these two have been working together, or we all have really now, for 4 years, and on VeVe for going on 3 years now, since sort of late 2017. And that was back in the day before anyone really knew what an NFT was. But the vision that this pair of people had was already kind of apparent at that point, and really figured out that we could, I guess, corner the market by going after licensed collectibles as opposed to user-generated content. So they really began that journey 3 years ago. And then we also brought on a man by the name of Alfred Kahn, who really helped us to get in front of a lot of these licensors. But it was Dan and Dave's tenacity that really secured the deals over the years. If anyone does not know Alfred Kahn, he is the man who is literally responsible for naming Pokemon. He found that property in Japan in the 90s and licensed it to the rest of the world. He's also responsible for brands like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Cabbage Patch Kids. So if anyone would like to learn more about Alfred, they can go to the Ecomi blog and just search it in the bar there, or look up his name. And a couple of weeks ago, we did a pretty fire interview with Dan, David, and Alfred. And that will really give you a lot more insight into the journey that we've been on so far, and how VeVe came to be. And Alfred paints a pretty great picture of the future there too. So there's a quick little wrap up. Dan, did you want to add anything to that and maybe intro some of the story yourself?
You always do a good job, Reese. So I think it was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Dave and I always joke that even last year, as you mentioned, Reese, nobody really knew about NFTs prior to this year. And Dave and I often reminisce when we were sitting around the table saying, oh man, it's going to be cool to sell a digital Batman. I really hope, someone buys it. And then January happened, and then we, I mean, it's just been amazing that all of our hard work has generated such a passionate community. And I mean, I think the difference with Dave and I, when approaching this project, was that we always saw it as a collectible business. Not even like a technology company or an NFT project. And I think that's why we've gone down a bit of a different path from other people who perhaps maybe a bit more let's say technologically oriented in what they're offering. So for us, we're just offering Batmans and Marvel characters in the same way that fans and collectors would already interact with them in the real world. So just super, as I've mentioned a number of times, just super happy that all of our hard work is actually bringing so much enjoyment to people, and people connecting around the world. I won't ramble on too much, but I think one of the things that both Claire and Mitch said that I really love about VeVe is just how it's so instantaneous. Like Mitch said, and I know from David, because I've followed him around like decons and all the cons around the world, being his little box boy. He's buying 100 products, and I'm like, Dave, we're flying out, right? And he's like, yeah, don't worry, we'll get it through. It's just so accessible. Like you can be there on your phone, on the toilet, at work, and you can be collecting and interacting with fans. I just think that's such a cool part of it.
Yeah, I think even Khozik mentioned that in the clubhouse last week or the week before. Really just reiterating how hard it is to store all of these collectibles. You have to have a whole room or a basement or somewhere to put them, and then if you need to move them, you need to ship them around, and the difficulty that can present, and just how different that is when you move to digital. And look, just to intro David a little bit more as well, I think a lot of people that have been in the community have really put together just what a passion, the passion that he has for collecting, and as you just mentioned, following him around at all the cons and those things. Now, David, you started your first business at 17, was it?
I started Vagabond Games, basically. And actually, I've known Dan since 96, 97. He Dan built his company back then in digital website, built my first gaming website. So that's how we got to know each other. So you got two co-founders who's really passionate in different field got together. Dan's really all the technical, where I'm more of about what the collectors will think, what they will like to purchase. I started in the gaming industry, and to be very honest, the first product that I was selling before Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh and all these things, where I got in touch with Al and working with his company 4Kids, is the KLCM game. And I think a lot of you guys know that KLCM Games is responsible for these Call of Cthulhu role-playing books. I started in the gaming field by really a mistake. I went to a liquidation sale, a company, a distributor down in New Zealand here, going out of business. And it just happened they had a lot of role-playing books in the auction, and I bought a whole bunch. I have to say maybe about 5-6 pallets of these books. And KLCM game was one of the game that really kicked me off and into this fantasy world of gaming and collectibles, and how I meet these fascinated, unique gamers, and that's how I really got into the immerse world. And then
hey, you bought 5 or 6 pallets of these things with, like, just off the bat, you thought, yep, that's where I'm going to start. It's a bit of
how it began. The liquidation sale was quite funny. They didn't wanted to show you what was in a box. So basically, you roll up with your money and you tell the liquidator, here's 5,000. And I think the first lot I bought was about $1,600. And I walked away with maybe a fanful of Star Wars, Star Trek mugs, ties, novelty items. And being a little entrepreneur of me, I quickly sold it to another retailers who wanted that product. And I think I made about $6,000 in that deal. So I went back to the liquidator and I bought $6,000 worth. So this time is like 3 or 4 fanful of these, pallets of these. And what I didn't realize is I went home and I opened the boxes. It was basically role-playing books and Dungeons and Dragon figures and Warhammers, tabletop figurines. And I actually couldn't sell the product. And that's how I first started my first retail shop in the old Takapuna village in Auckland. I set up the retail shop basically selling all these excess product that people didn't wanted and I couldn't sell. And from there onwards, I started contacting all the the suppliers to become their retailer in New Zealand. And they start supplying me gaming product, and that's how I got into the industry. And I was always a collector, from telephone cards I did before, stamp collecting, and then then trading card. I went through a huge era with trading card on sports as well as Pokemon. Obviously, I bought into New Zealand. I first imported it in, and from Japan. Then I found out 4Kids have the license, and working with Wizard of the Coast back in the day, and bought in Magic and other, just really developing that whole car industry. And what fascinated me was a lot of people who played the game also like to collect it. So a lot of their experience really came from selling the product, being behind the counter, understand what the mentality, how people think. And slowly over the period, the business grew, and there was a huge era where art toys, we were dealing with Strange Code, Kid Robot, all these, and that's how I got to know Jermaine's work. Actually, so I've been selling Jermaine's product in my shop, years ago. I can't even remember when we started. I think we started Frank stuff in 2004 or 5. So, that's a good 15, 16 years ago. Art toys is just having a huge comeback. You know, and I think a huge part of that whole culture, the second wave where course start, you know, commercializing, you know, the artist course, Brian Donnelly brought out some beautiful products, and Medicom really just took off with these beer bricks. So, you know, just all these art toys. And now, you know, one of the major thing is we go to all these cons, and like Dan say, I really only bought him so I can use his extra luggage space. And we'll literally roll up to the airport, and I mean, Dan will tell you some of the story next time.
The airport stories, they deserve a chapter in memoir.
Yeah, it's kind of addiction. And you know, with the stuff that we're bringing out this week with Jermaine, one of the thing I really like people to think about, most people think we just smash together some 3D photos and make a collectible that you can AR, but it's a lot more to that than what it seems. One of the major thing about digital toys and collectible, different than the physical, is what you get in the physical world is not going to look like that in digital. You have to think from that digital perspective. For example, we were working from other different color variation, like clear or the matte black, but it just doesn't show out as good in on your phone or on digital. So when we design these, and this is a huge learning curve for us and for a lot of the artists out there. You know, there will be a lot of things people have to think, because the color, what's represented in the physical world and on the digital world are hugely different. How the lighting works, how it shines, how you feel it. And you want to make that product as exciting as the next version you bring out. I mean, and I think I was talking, I think Clem, one of our partners, brought to me, he said the camel color, you know, to do that camel green, it's a very difficult job in the physical world. So in digital, we want to make it more even, you know, enhance that whole color experience into it. So, you know, this is just really a message to a lot of these toy designers out there. We're moving into the digital world. You have to start thinking how it will look on a phone rather than how it will look physically. There's a lot of tricks, and this whole collectible and digital just really starting to take off. But I'll stop there and I'll let you take over, Reese.
Well, yeah, just you know, to kind of touch on what you said there, you know, I guess in that sense, it's really creating new opportunities to redesign some of these things, whether it is a colorway or you know, it gives you that opportunity to create something in digital that you can't create in physical, which is a really cool aspect, I think, of this whole industry. But yeah, and you obviously touched on Jermaine, and we're definitely going to get into a conversation with him in celebration of Comic-Con weekend, or what is to be. But maybe just before we dive into that, Dan, obviously we put out a bit of news this morning that things with FTLX didn't quite go the way we had planned. But we are still running that metaverse experience, so people can absolutely enjoy it, and we'll have access to that from tomorrow, I think. Do you want to just give people a bit of an update on what we're doing over the weekend and what people can expect to be a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, from our side, everything is rolling ahead as we plan. I'm sure, you know, everyone on the in the clubhouse who follows us online can see that, you know, we've been doing a hell of a lot of work. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be doing this many drops in a weekend again for a while. I think it's 10 years in a week. I'm still here as I'm typing, as I'm chatting to you guys. I'm actually still working on the next assets that need to go up. I just wanted to touch on the Comic-Con thing for a moment. And just to give a little bit of perspective, you know, obviously Comic-Con is iconic in the collectible space, and because it is so iconic, it has a waiting list of many, many years for any vendor to get in there. So we had the opportunity to get on board the sort of the Comic-Con Roadshow with Future Tech Live. They've obviously been running the con virtual events. I believe it was from 2016. So they've been, very much involved in part of the, this online and virtual space for all of those people who aren't in the US who want to take part in Comic-Con. And their whole thing is really just to create these cool metaverses where people can explore it the same way that you'd run around like a 3D game and look at a lot of cool stuff. And for us, that was a perfect opportunity because, what do we create? Basically 3D stuff to go in there. So there's going to be a really cool section of the metaverse that is all 3D. I'm really excited for our fans and a whole lot of new people to see our content in this type of environment. Now with the whole Comic-Con thing, look, I'm not going to go into too many details because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or talk out of turn about anyone. But as I mentioned in that Twitter post, sometimes things just go wrong, or some speed bumps happen, and that's what happened this time around. It was all pretty, I wouldn't say last minute, but it was unfortunate what's happened. However, as I also mentioned in that tweet, Dave and I have a lot of things planned when it comes to cons, virtual cons, physical cons. Even by the end of this year, I'm sure I'm going to be carting back 100 boxes under my luggage. I think he'll allow me to squeeze one or two of my own in there during that time. So it's I think just be aware that we're right at the beginning here. It's 100% not the first road bump we've had. For any OGs here, everyone knows that we've gone through many sort of ups and downs during the first couple of months. But I'm always, and both David and I, we're very, very positive people. We're very bullish on the future, and when things like this happen, it can be annoying, but we just know that there's so much cool stuff happening. So one of the other thing I wanted to touch on that I saw coming up in the community quite a bit is are we still going to be doing the CE or the con exclusive badge? And 100% we are. We are celebrating this Comic-Con weekend like many other retailers and artists do who aren't perhaps even involved in the event. This is Comic-Con weekend. It's a worldwide thing. Everyone knows about it, and we've obviously put a lot of effort into bringing the artists on, and the stuff we have it's so cool. I can't wait to get it out there tomorrow. And I'll just finish up by saying, literally, good luck to everyone because the runs are very low.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. And part of the response we've seen was, I think some people are happy that they'll have a better chance of getting some of the drops.
100%.
Yeah, some of that.
I like that they're seeing positive of it.
Yeah. I just want to touch one last thing. VeVe is a platform for all the brands. We have seen we're dropping something that's new with Mondo. I think a lot of people was not expecting there be Mondo poster in the NFT coming out. That will be a first of the type and con exclusive. Jermaine is a con exclusive, and we have other retail partner who is participating in Comic-Con that will be featured in showing and VeVe app over the long weekend. We got surprises which we haven't announced. I guess a lot of our fans will just need to work it out as the weekend goes through. And the metaverse is out there. There's nothing. It is a Comic-Con at home. It's not physical. It's not like we've been kicked out. It is everything happening online. Everything was always going to be dropped in the VeVe app. It wasn't like you had to line up at the physical con to get these exclusives. So the show goes on. Everything is happening. Like Dan say, we still got a lot of things moving forward in the next 12, 18, 36 months. We've got shows that we're booking, we're speaking to. We got physical, both virtual, physical, or attending. So yeah, please do watch out the space. But just we do apologize. This was pretty much the last minute we found out ourselves, and it's unfortunate our partners had and us couldn't deliver onto the Comic-Con main page, but everything is still there, and it is the con exclusive weekend. So please do enjoy what we have up and coming in the program.
Absolutely.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the transparency and everything. I think overall the project's amazing, the team's amazing. It's amazing that we can even speak to yourself, David, and Dan. But yeah, I did want to ask a question related to the VeVeVerse. Is there any sort of potential links between between what the VeVeVerse could be and some of the videos that we've seen so far?
No, I mean Future Tech Live really create their own platform, and they actually offer that to a number of different events, such as CES and all the. I think they're also, I don't know, maybe previously they've done South by Southwest. So they're very much a virtual promotional platform for these sort of live events for people who can't attend. So yeah, don't put sort of link what they're doing with their metaverse and with the VeVeVerse. What we're doing is something a little bit different. Obviously, it's going to be very, very collectible orientated, and a lot more sort of experience based around the collectibles.
And just one last thing for listeners out there who's not familiar with Comic-Con, there are many Comic-Con around the world, and they are all run by different organizations. So it's not like this is the only con out there we're doing. The SDCC is certainly one of my most favorite con. They're brilliant organization, great show. The LA Comic-Con's another crowd, New York Comic-Con's another crowd. All around the world, these cons are run by different organizations. So, it's not like, we say we're doing a con or we're not doing one. It means all of them is not going to happen. So there's a lot out there. And yeah, do stand by.
Yeah, we just move to the next one and get ready for that, which is good. And Dan, I think what you were really saying was the VeVeVerse will be better than their metaverse. Is that what you were hinting at there?
Well, I mean, it's how you want to interpret it, Reese.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's this is a great opportunity for anyone who may not have explored a metaverse style world before, just to really come in and check it out and see what's possible, and then we'll take it and run with it more than anything. But look, maybe if anyone else on the floor wants to ask Dan or Dave anything about the con events or about this weekend, the drops, things like that, we can hit that for the next 5 minutes or so, and then let's chat to Jermaine, I think, or I'll give the floor back more than anything.
Yeah, I was just going to ask real quick.
Can I
you mentioned.
I'd just like to jump in if I can.
I was going to say.
Hey, Rob, I think Af only has a couple minutes. He's in Tokyo with the Olympics. You want to say something, Af? Af, by the way, everybody, for the 400 plus people, is the man that started this club all these months ago. And it's a really special night for all of us. We're all really happy. So what's up, Af? I'll let you go right after that, Rob. Sorry about that.
Cheers. Sorry, Rob. Yeah, I've literally got to jump off in a sec. I am late for work because of this, but it's all good. I woke up this morning. I'm in Tokyo. I couldn't believe it. There's 420 people listening. Like Mike said, there was about 4 of us a few months ago. So it's just brilliant. I'm working at the Olympics at the moment as well. So there have been some labbits in the red corner of the Olympic boxing ring this week.
True.
So I can't share it just yet because I'll get fired. But as soon as the Olympics get going, then. But yeah, I've had Ultraman at the top of Tokyo Skytree Tower as well. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. Like Mike said, we talk on this all the time. If you're new to Clubhouse, please follow the moderators on stage. everybody with a green thing, follow each other. We do open this club every drop day, an hour before the drop, and the excitement builds. And the last 10 minutes, people just say, I'm going for an ultra rare for about 50 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, they're like, I'm going for everything. And then after the drop, Claire comes on and says, I bought 7 of everything. So it's really
wish
good.
I haven't got Ray's budget.
So yeah, it's really good, really fun. I know we talk about community a lot, but yeah, I speak to these guys on stage probably more than my actual friends and family now. So it's bizarre how we've ended up here. I was going to be joining VeVe just to collect Batmans and Ghostbusters, to be honest, and yeah, not to blow smoke because Frank's here, but yeah, the Labbits are my favourite now, I think. So I've got a ton of them. But yeah, just wanted to pop on and say hi before I've got to jump off. Thanks again for all joining. I will be listening, but I can't speak anymore.
You are the man, Af. Enjoy your time in Tokyo, brother.
Cheers. And yeah, to all the listeners and people with party hats on, like I say, follow the people on stage. Thanks as well. We've got some OGs in the audience. Cavell, I can see you there. Brilliant. Love what you do on YouTube and mentioning us all the time. So thanks for that. And everybody else that's running their YouTube channels. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Been a pleasure. Have a great day, and I'll listen to the rest of the chat.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Rob, I think you were up next.
Yeah. Looking forward to this weekend. I love San Diego Comic Con. I've been going for almost 15 years. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And you mentioned earlier, like, you know, for this one, you know, in order to participate in the app, but you said like the idea of lining up for a piece. Is that you guys ever thought about doing something like that, where it's like an actual fit, like you have to physically be there, you have to be in a geo range? Is that something you would have thought about, really?
Yes, we absolutely have thought about that. You know, the whole idea around con events is that when you turn up, you get these con exclusive products only available when you're there at that physical event. So we absolutely want to continue that experience. So we've got a couple of mechanisms that are in the works at the moment that will ensure that you can only get these collectibles when you are in a specific physical location. And that may not be limited to, you know, just the con events. You know, we may even do promotions with partners where you need to be in a specific physical place to, you know, to get these collectibles. So, yeah, I really think that's a big part of it.
There's also I've spoken about before, and obviously this is somewhere down the line, but you know, people used to bring up that being able to get the artist's signature on your work or something like that was a big part of their collecting experience. And I know we've kind of alluded to the potential of that in the digital realm as well. I don't know if you want to mention anything on that, Dan, or it's a bit too far in the future at this point.
Yes, that has been a feature that Dave and I came up with, oh gosh, I think it was the beginning of last year. I remember Dave was pulling out one of his Ron English pieces, and he just pulled the base out, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing with that? And he's like, oh, I need to keep it out so I can get Ron to sign it. And then I think, I don't know, we locked eyes and something magical happened. We're like, oh my gosh, we have to have, you know, digital signatures in the platform. So yeah, that's a feature that's been scoped out. It hasn't quite made it into the development pipeline yet. Obviously, we've got quite a bit going on. But, you know, and I think everyone here who's a physical collector can attest to the fact that, you know, if you can get a signature from the artist or, you know, whoever the person is, that's, you know, that makes the piece a lot more special. So, you know, as I've said a lot of times, we're not trying to reinvent anything really in the collectible world. We're just trying to take what everyone already loves and bring that into a digital format.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in doing that, we're just making the whole experience more accessible to wider audiences, which, you know, obviously everyone is really enjoying at this point. Now, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but you did just mention the development pipeline, so I hope I don't put you too far on the spot. But do you want to give people just a quick update as to what we are working on behind the scenes with VeVe at the moment? what's in
boy,
development?
yes.
And yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on. I think as you guys probably know, David and I gave up on sleep about 3 years ago. So a couple of the key things we've got going on, obviously, as we announced with Marvel, we have comics coming to the platform. So that's going to be a very comprehensive comic experience, very similar to the experience that you get with the 3D collectibles. But obviously we want people to have the full comic experience, and that means the ability to read it, to buy it, to sell it, to trade it, everything you can do now. What we've got, the web platform is really coming along very well, and I think I've mentioned in a couple of these chats that I really think we're going to see a lot of people gravitate to the web platform just because it's a lot. I wouldn't say it's easier to use, but when you're on a desktop experience, it can be a lot more engaging. However, I will say the showroom is 10 times easier to use. To be able to drag an item around with your mouse rather than get my fat fingers on that tiny little screen to move that item 2 millimeters. Really looking forward to getting that rolled out. What else have we got on the list?
What about the new showrooms too? How's that development going? You just mentioned that.
New showrooms is going along very well. We're just going through a final kind of optimization stage at the moment, making sure that it works. Because that showroom has is a lot heavier on the rendering because we're using much better textures, much better lighting, and just really trying to make that room look. I mean, because I think everyone here knows the current one looks a little bit naff. So really just trying to improve that experience, and that often comes with a bit of processing power. So into the final stages on that one now.
Perfect. And sorry, I just interrupted you. I think you were going to mention a couple other things. But,
I'm trying to think what else.
Should we maybe let David? Hey, David, what do we have coming down the pipeline? They say it's hard to keep a lid on you.
Trying to find the
that's
what everybody else. I'm going to start muting everybody else. Let's let David tell us what's coming down the pipeline here. I'm just kidding, bud. But if you want to tell a little something, you're welcome to as well.
Yeah. Really, we want to focus on this weekend. On this, I do get carried away. That's why I can't say much. But this weekend has been kept under secret for a long time. A lot of these, Jermaine is one of our major feature. All these things just coming on reality, which is amazing. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get one of these collectibles myself and which one I'm going to get. I think that's the strategy I'm going to be thinking. Let's see if we can give. Is Jermaine online here?
Jermaine is. He's right here.
Hey.
Perfect
Let's
segue.
get him on the call.
Where
is he?
He's up on the stage, I think. Well, maybe that's a perfect segue. Do you want to reset the room at all, guys, or are we happy to dive straight in?
Absolutely. I'll reset it real quick. Welcome everybody again. VeVe Collectors Chat. Awesome group of people up here on stage. Follow everybody. Check out the profiles. Say hello. We have a great crowd here. We had Mitch Putnam earlier. He was gracious enough to join us on a very busy day. We have Jermaine Rogers here, who's dropping Saturday on VeVe. Some of the coolest looking collectibles are so sharp looking. That camo one is sick. That is going to be really sought after and tough to get. That's going to be one that people are going to remember for sure. We have Reese, we have Dan, we have David. We have such a great crowd. We have people from the VeVe team we haven't even heard from yet, and I want to welcome you guys. Trevor, Noah, I believe. I think there's even one or two more. I apologize.
I think Alex is in here too. Yeah.
Alex is in here too. Mark down at the bottom. It's early morning for him in Australia. He's finally joining us. Welcome, Mark. Good to see you. This is super exciting. So we're gonna get with Jermaine now. We're gonna go over all kinds of good stuff with Jermaine. And Ray is also here. Ray Fixie, who everybody wants to talk to. And he's gracious enough. I think he's enjoying the conversation and he understands. Says he has a couple more hours. I'm ready to go all night here, so we're gonna enjoy ourselves and just go over everything VeVe. Before we get with Jermaine, whoever's in the audience, about 400 people here, everybody I would say should go to JermaineRogers.com as we start to do this and look at his artwork and look at all the amazing bands and musicians and artists that he's worked with. Some of my favorites. And one of the questions that I actually had for Jermaine, we'll kick it off. Are you like buddies with Les Claypool? Because I see you do a lot of his bands, like all the iterations he does. I've never seen a bad Les Claypool concert, so I was interested in that, or it just so happened to be that way.
No, we have a nice working relationship.
Sure.
I've known him for a few years and have gotten a chance to do a lot of work on his projects.
Yeah, I mean everything from the Foo Fighters, 9 Inch Nails, Childish Gambino, Run the Jewels, Humphreys McGee, one of my other favorites, Widespread Panic, one of my very favorites. I mean, it's on and on. A lot of really cool 9 Inch Nails ones, Queens of the Stone Age. I mean, who am I missing? And beautiful stuff. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and it's been really nice to get to know Jermaine over the last couple weeks a little bit. He was here when we did the last one, and I've been in some clubhouse rooms with him. Just cool dude, nice to hang out with, always humble and just great artist with a lot of history. So I think there's going to be some questions. Andy, were you the one that said that you had his poster on your wall in college?
That was a Frank Khozik, the Soundgar and Pearl Jam.
Sorry, I remember this.
I very well may have had some
Frank
Jermaine
is here
stuff.
as well. Sorry about that. Okay.
I've definitely been to the concerts he's drawn for.
Okay. So Reese, you wanna start off a little bit? That was my little introduction to Jermaine. But thanks, Jermaine, for being here, man. Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Ray, for your patience. We're gonna have an awesome time coming up all night. So
100%.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, and we'll second that. First of all, welcome, Jermaine. Welcome to the family and the community. And again, thanks for being here. I think people really enjoy learning a bit about the story of kind of how you came to be in touch with us or where that connection came from, what you're looking forward to, what you're excited about, anything that you can add color to on that journey. So if you wanted to just give a bit of insight into that, and I'm sure we'll dive into your work and your history along the way as well.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, it was, I think David alluded to it. He was familiar with a lot of the work. Back about 15 years ago, I was one of the core artists that were putting out art figures, designer vinyl figures on a label called Strange Co. May it rest in peace. It no longer exists, but it was a really classic label. At the time, it was myself, Scott Musgrove, Mars One, I think Gary Baseman, Tim Biscup. A lot of guys were doing good work on that label. And when I would obviously be at Comic-Cons and later designer cons. And I think I first came in contact with David at a designer con. But I didn't really, when you go to those conventions and you're an artist, you shake so many hands, you get approached by so many people. And but when I started hearing about the VeVe thing, like right around the beginning of the year, I remembered, I was like, oh, that guy. And and a lot of the people in the community that I knew were speaking with him about different projects, and they would always tell me, "Hey, man, your name came up." And so at some point, we finally connected. Right. And when we spoke, it was I think it was kind of inevitable because one of the great things about VeVe, like, my first introduction to it was David, but I found it's all of those guys that collect. They think like collectors because they are collectors, and not only are they familiar with like the huge brands and the huge properties, but they also were very, very kind of plugged into art, what was going on the front edge of art, the pop art scene, the designer vinyl toys, things like that. So it was really, really cool to not have to, I think Frank mentioned it, like to not have somebody, telling you what you can't do. And, they were people who understood this thing and were like, hey man, we know all about it. Do your shit, And so it was just a great kind of feeling and a lot of freedom and very intuitive, working with them. I mean, when we were working on this first this series 1 of choices, there were a couple of times where they would propose an idea like right before I said it,
right?
Which is always just that's a great thing because
that's what you want.
That's what you want when you have that kind of synergy going on. So, yeah, I'm glad that those guys worked hard and made this thing a reality because I really believe that I've looked at since the NFT thing started, and I mean I've done a few things myself on other platforms, but I think VeVe is like they're the one. I mean, they just seem to like be covering all of the bases. I don't just mean business, but I mean like the aesthetic of collecting. They get it. They get it. And if you don't understand that, then I don't care how much money you throw at something, it won't work. But they've got good ideas,
100%. Yeah. What was your experience like launching NFTs on other platforms and things? Did you have a good response? Did everything kind of sell? Like was there a community behind it, or was it kind of a bit disconnected from that?
No, man. I mean, I was kind of lucky, dude. Everything that I put out sold. I put out my first several pieces on Foundation, and they all sold. And then I went to OpenSea to start doing some other little things here and there, and so far all of those have sold. So yeah, I mean I didn't have a lot of real issues with it. I will say I was only putting up 2D art, obviously. So this whole 3D thing that VeVe does was sort of like one of those things where like maybe one day when I grow up I'll do that, and so the fact that VeVe does it, I mean, shoot, I just like I come up with the artwork and sort of hand it over to them and let them do their witchcraft on it, and it comes out looking cool.
Absolutely, the Trevor witchcraft. That one. You kind of alluded to it earlier. Being on VeVe gives you that freedom to create or to throw these ideas around. I mean, do you want to just give people a bit of insight? I mean, I'm really asking for myself here. Like, how restrictive is it in the physical designer toy world? I mean, you have to fit a certain mold before you can kind of partner with these companies to release things? Like, how does that sort of work?
Hey, if you don't mind, say that. You dropped out on my phone for about 5 seconds, so just restate that again.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just asking this for my own knowledge and just to give people a bit of insight, just as to how restrictive is it in the physical toy world when it comes to your designs or the work you want to put out? I mean, you obviously have the creative input, but do you have to design things to a certain mold before you can partner with a kid robot or something like that to put work out?
No, I mean, any company who would ask me to do that, I just don't work with them.
Right.
I mean, everybody that I've worked with, from Strange Coder Kid Robot to the little fabric things that came out with Metacom, Jamungo, all these different companies. That's the cool thing that I think anybody that is new to this sort of designer vinyl art, this is the thing you'll love, is that a lot of designer vinyl art, most of designer vinyl art is kind of run by people who understand the power of the thing is the art and the artist. So they sort of get out of your way. Now, there may be some sort of, they'll tell you if there's some sort of technical constraints. Like if I come in there and go like, I want the thing to be, whatever. I want it to be four-dimensional, like, well, that's not possible.
Yeah.
But
Be
but
reasonable.
yeah, but as far as aesthetics go, like what you want to say and things like that, you know, when they come, when any kind of client approaches you and they're familiar with the work you've done in the past, in many ways, like they kind of know already, like
Yes.
how far you'll go.
Yeah. But
So
I suppose that's taken years of your career to establish that freedom.
yeah, you know, yeah, when you
Yeah.
first start off, I mean, like even when I was doing posters in the beginning, I mean, like, you know, you have like you get all these sort of rules from like a band's management, like, okay, you can't do this, you can't, you know, you can't like certain types of violence, certain types of obscenity, you can't do that, whatever. After you've worked for long enough, yeah, and your work sort of precedes you. Um, like with me, people know that I know exactly where the line is, and I know
Yeah.
how to get like right up on that thing and walk it, you know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, then at that point, they just kind of let me do my thing.
Is that a goal of yours when you set out to create a new artwork or something? Like, is that you're always trying to get up on that line, or it's piece dependent?
Yeah, it just depends, man. You know, like I've been through several periods in my career where I've tried to sort of game it, you know, and like, but I find that just doesn't work, at least not for me. Like, because like the minute you start doing that, um, like the honesty in your work starts being affected because
Yeah,
you're
it
not doing,
shows.
yeah, you're not doing what you really feel. You're doing what you think will work, or you're trying to like, oh, well, I'm trying to prove this, or I'm trying to, and
Yeah.
you know, at that point, and a lot of artists do that, and they underestimate the viewers of their art. Like they underestimate their fans. Like your fans know when you're pulling some bullshit. They can see it.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, I try to keep it real that way. And so like I might, you know, if I want to say something heavy in a piece of art, I'll do it. If I want to say something in like an imaginary world that I've created, where there's, you know, this weird, strange patch of woods, and in that woods, in those woods, there's all kinds of struggles between bunny rabbits and raccoons and all these other weird things in the forest, I'll do that. And then sometimes I'll mix it up, you know, so you might have a little bunny rabbit, like, you know, speaking on a very real kind of social issue or something like that. So it just, you know, it's whatever I'm feeling like at the time. You know, you work to get that kind of freedom, and so once you got it, you know, you might as well
Yep.
use it.
May as well use it. Yeah, absolutely. Can we dive into the bunny rabbit side of things and choices? And I know Khozik's here as well. What's everybody's doing rabbits, guys. What's at least you two are. What brought you to that? Is it because it's an innocent kind of character that you can then attach any sort of meaning to? Like, is there something there that led you to creating these characters?
I'll tell you when I first started drawing the rabbits. I mean, I used to, you mess around growing up, you draw all kinds of stuff. But in my early 20s, me and a girl that I was with at the time, we had a rabbit. We bought an English lop rabbit, and this rabbit, man, was like it was like a dog, really. Like we would walk in the house like after being gone, and like the minute we opened the door, like I would come in and I would hear him thumping through the house, and then he'd run up to me and jump on my leg to be pet. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy, you know, and they're like the perfect kind of animals, man, because like when they use the bathroom, it's just like little dry balls. You can pick them up with your hand.
Yeah, it's valid. Yeah.
They don't, you know, they don't bark. They don't, you know, that's just like, and so that bunny that I draw is really a kind of like that first rabbit, Sage, that I had. I'm drawing that rabbit over. He died a long time ago, but I'm drawing that rabbit over and over again. And then I started getting into using it in different ways. I think I used that bunny like I did a poster for the Deftones like 20 years ago, and I put all these weird little bunnies on it, and like everybody loved it. And I just started using them in different scenarios, in like where they would be sort of anthropomorphic, sort of reflecting these sort of weird human traits. So it was like weird because I think human beings, like, we have become desensitized to seeing other human beings in pain, like, because we see it so much. So it's like, oh, we hear about we see some scene from like some war footage or something, and we've seen it so much. And we literally will see a human being in pain and not even kind of mention it. But man, if we see like an animal in pain, we like, oh, not the animal. And so I thought it was cool because I could make statements on different things using these animals. And it would hit different, man. People would like I could make a statement on some social issue, and it's like an interaction between a bunny and a raccoon, and people would just like really be touched. Like, oh shit, what is that? And it would be something that if I drew two human beings doing the same thing, like, that's boring, So yeah, they have a lot of power that way, like, because they are cute. But like my animals, like these bunnies, you see the choices of bunnies. I mean, in my mind, they're cute. Okay, I know some people don't think they're cute. I think they're cute. I think they're cute. But at the same time, it's like you gotta watch them, man, because like they're cute, but they like something is not like
little woodland critter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the butcher knife. I'm just like looking at like the bunny itself. Like something is not right. So I mean, I dig that juxtaposition,
Yeah, 100%. The bunny is always watching. But, hey, while you're here, Frank, if you want to chime in, I think the bunnies first appeared in some of your early posters as well. Is he still part of the chat? Yeah. Do you want to maybe give some insight into how yours evolved?
My rabbit story is a little different. I like doing animal characters for the same issues Jermaine does, because you can avoid pissing people off by inserting an animal instead of a human archetype. So in the 80s and 90s, I was a big collector of like Japanese die-cast toys and like Hello Kitty and Karopi and things like that, and I had a really big fascination with like really simple character design. It's hard to do and have it work. And so on my very first trip to Japan, because I went to Japan quite a bit to do shows and to do jobs and stuff for many years. So my first trip over there, I'm hanging out with all the fancy Japanese people that were like my patrons for the trip. And they were all like, well, okay, weird American artist guy, what sort of stuff do you want to go do, right? And I think they were probably thinking like, okay, I want to go do tourist shit. I want to go climb Mount Fuji or whatever the fuck tourist people do in Japan.
Yep.
And my big thing was like, well, I want to go to Puroland. And what Puroland is Puroland is like a super shitty indoor amusement park, like themed based on Hello Kitty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like really got weirded out because they're like, dude, you can't go to Puroland. And I'm like, well, why not? I go, well, they're like, well, dude, it's for children. Like people are going to think you're a pedophile. Also, it's kind of like Hello Kitty is like for low class people. It's a grotesque. These are like sort of fancy people. I was saying that. But they're like, it's just like shitty consumer product and all this stuff. And I was like, no, we're having a bar conversation, right? I go, I beg to differ. I sort of gave my whole rap about like, I have this like really boring TED talk about like animism in everyday objects and advertising mascots, and like how it's a really pure character, a really great character. I mean, she doesn't even have a mouth, right? Can represent anything, so it's like a mirror of the observer. I have this whole thing about like what makes interesting character design, and it was and they listen, they heard me out, and they go, oh, that's pretty interesting. They go, maybe you should design a character, you know. So we're at the bar, so like literally on the spot, like on the little round beard coaster thing, I drew like this little lumpy, dirty, unshaven, like rabbit-looking thing smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, well, you know, and they're like, okay, what's the story? And I'm like, well, this is like when Hello Kitty needs a booty call at 3 a.m. She calls this guy up, right? Because he's all like sleazy and will borrow money and never pay it back and eat all her food, but like, you know, he's a fun time.
You know what you're getting. Yeah.
Right. Whereas like Dear Daniel, like she'll marry him someday, but he's really boring, right?
Mhm.
So basically the initial raw concept was, you know, an Asian style character. This is like, you know, 25 years ago, right? Asian style character that's ultra simple, doesn't even have a name, right? It doesn't, Labbit has no name, it has no gender, whatever, right? It is whatever you want it to be. So that was the initial concept, and this is before I could ever knew that you could do toys. So it's like I did them as 2D art. I put them on cigarette lighters and ashtrays, and I made like an Easter basket item with him in it, and I made resin ones on my own, and all sort of, and then, you know, I just kept developing the character because everybody really liked it. So when I had the first opportunity to do a designer vinyl toy, which was in 1999, with a small fashion brand in Japan, but very famous, called Bounty Hunter BXH. I met that guy Hikaru, and we did our first collab in '99, which was a smoking. It was supposed to be a smoking rabbit, but when we got the printed packaging back from the factory, they had mangled it in translation, and they were calling it the Smorkin' Labbit, which was a way better name than I could ever
Way
think of.
better. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, cool. Like the factory fuck up just named the character for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I accepted that happy accident. And then we just started making lots of Labbits everywhere, and people love them. I mean, people send me photos. People take their fucking Labbits around the world. I have pictures of the Labbit like on top of Everest and in like the South Pole and at people's weddings and anything you could think of, right? A lot of teachers use them as rewards for kids. There was a while when this one teacher that taught 5th grade every year, she would send me a little book her students had done about the Labbit, right? Because she used it as a reward system in her class. So my
With the
whole
cigarette?
idea, what's that?
Do the
Yeah,
kids still
with the
draw it
cigarette.
with the
Yeah,
cigarette?
go
Yeah,
figure.
yeah.
So I mean, although there's non-smoking versions too, right?
Right.
So basically, like my goal of making a successful, very, very, very simple character, right? That could be like a stand-in for anything you want it to be came true, right? So it was like sort of a design goal I ended up achieving, and I'm very pleased with what's happened because 25 years ago, the dream was to have it be like a character like it is now, where you can get it on clothing, you can get it as toys, you know, now it's digital collectibles, all that sort of thing. So, you know,
Yeah.
because like I say, I'm not a fine artist. I mean, I did, you know, a lot of paintings in the 90s. I had gallery shows, all that kind of stuff. Not a real interesting lifestyle for me, right? I'm not into that kind of thing. I'm a collector. I like weird junk. I like flea markets, right? I like talking to people. I come from punk rock. I want it to be inclusive, not exclusive. So kind of like it all worked out really perfectly for what it is I wanted to do, like as a designer with part of my career. And that's the Labbit story.
Okay.
He is you. He is you. He's whatever you want it to be, or her to be, or whatever or it to be.
Yeah. You attach your own meaning to that piece. Yeah. Thanks for the insight. That's incredible. Both rabbit stories. It always interests me when you see the same sort of the same imagery pop up in different art. So that's interesting. Now, Jermaine, you when I was looking into your background and piecing together a bit of info, I read a few things that said that you almost took the mantle over from Khozik when you started your poster art. Did you guys work together back then? Like, was there any sort of crossover there in the industry?
Well, the deal with Frank, so I started, you know, I'm from Houston, and in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, when music was changing, there was a lot of shit happening in Texas. I mean, we just had a lot of creative writers and filmmakers and musicians, and so everybody's eyes were always roving about looking for what was going on. And I noticed that coming out of Austin were these real cool like flyers for like all the bands I listened to, and that's how I discovered Frank. And Frank was like, he sort of had a cult following. In those days there was no internet, so everything had to sort of grow organically. And so Frank had a cult following among like poster, like, oh, this guy is doing all these weird posters and whatever. And so I was looking at the stuff and just like really digging it. And it was, it's always cool when you see, like that old saying, when you see someone open up a closing door. I was like, oh shit, this dude is doing something that I can, I can do that. And
Right.
so yeah, eventually I met Khozik. I mean, we used to, come in contact. I think even before like he knew who I was, he probably we were in some of the same rooms. I used to go to a lot of punk rock shows, and I was
Like maybe
African American.
17 when I first met you or something. You were coming to shows and you were going to shows in Austin.
Yeah. I would make the drive. Houston is about 2 hours away from Austin, so we would. Back in those days, driving through South Texas was an adventure on its own. So we'd go into Austin. I'd go see a Butthole Surfer show or whatever, and then so what ends up happening is like after we met each other, he was definitely a contemporary influence on what I wanted to do, and we got to be friends. I mean, a long time ago. So it's pretty cool to be able to like now sort of both be on VeVe because we kind of come, from the same place, and so it's just like if there's very few people sometimes that you can look at and go like, wow, I know how far that dude has come. And I can do that because I know exactly the scene that we were.
The underground music and art scene in Texas in the 80s was someday someone will write a book. It was really interesting. It was a lot of talent developed there and moved to other cities and countries and started entire genres of things. It was a really kind of an interesting oasis of underground culture long before it emerged in other places.
Right.
Was there something that was driving that sort of bubble of culture there? Like, was it leftover hippies or like
liberal college for 1,000 miles?
But a lot of conservatism. Like you basically, Texas has always been like a front line. So you had like Frank said, like Austin is like this college town. So you've got all of these sort of professional liberal thinkers, right? And they're right up against
Central Texas was also like heavily settled by like Christian Democratic Socialist Germans in the 1880s and 1890s. So they brought a tradition of liberalism and humanity. And, like conjunto music started because German settlers would hire Mexican musicians to play in the beer halls. And they developed like conjunto music because they melded like polka. And so there's always been a sort of like, the region around Austin has always been like an oasis of like democratic liberal values and appreciation of the arts.
But it
was founded by Westerners, and since it's the only place in the middle of the country back then, any band that came through, they could have a place to stay and play a show and make gas money, right? So we got to meet everybody before they got famous.
But it was still the South.
Yeah, so it was still you still get your ass kicked for having a punk rock haircut or
or being black or being gay or whatever, So like
it made all of us band together to form our own reality.
Interesting.
Right? It was an interesting time and place.
Yeah, so it really became this kind of crossroads for people traveling through and a bit of a melting pot of liberal values, but up against the conservative nature of the South as well. Like, I guess that punk rock.
Yeah, it just always created that friction was always there, So like it was you would be like, you could go to different like bars, and that would be like like these redneck cowboy dudes, and then these hardcore like LGBTQ people, and then like skinhead dudes, and like the bad skinhead dudes, not the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So just
yeah, so you had all of these sort of disparate elements, and if you study like the history of art, those environments are like they are golden age breeding grounds for like ideas and good art, because you've got so many different people who are like on the ends of the spectrum, and they are trying to push their ideas. And so all these ideas come out into the open. And if you're an artist, especially somebody like with the kind of art that Frank and I did, where we're sort of like intoxicated with popular culture, right? So you study it as it comes out, and then you start picking it apart, chewing it up, regurgitating it, putting it back together in different ways. And so yeah, it was a perfect storm. Then you had the music changing, and you had all of that stuff, and so we were kind of like really lucky,
yeah, like you said. I mean, you
Hey,
study.
Reese, I got a question to follow up on that, if you don't mind. It's Alex.
Yeah, go.
Hey, guys, this is amazing insight. This is like right up my alley, because I came up in a similar time. I grew up going to Fishbone shows with the mid '80s, late early '90s, where there was like people didn't know what to think of a bunch of black dudes playing punk rock, funk, and ska, and kind of just blew my mind in the whole area. But I guess my question is, coming in from the kind of the liberal ideas in the art community and banding together, because you were other in a place like Texas, were you ever commissioned for work on a rock poster, for instance, that from some ideals that you just did not agree with, that you just had to turn down because you weren't like into the scene or the band?
Yeah, me personally, I won't tell you who, but yeah, a couple of times, sometimes I turned it down because I just thought the band was shitty, like I was just like, yeah, y'all are not that good, but then sometimes there were some bands that I didn't like what they stood for, and like, in the early '90s, some bands in the underground, man, were like really, like, me as an African American dude. It was really kind of weird, because like I can remember early on, before I actually had established any kind of reputation, I remember certain punk bands, when they heard it, like a dude named Jermaine is doing the poster, they assumed, oh, he's a French cat or something. Like they didn't, because of just the stereotype, like, and then when they would see me, like I actually had one band manager like call me and say, yeah, dude, the guys are just, they want to really make sure that you understand the music. And I'm like, and so I mean, like that kind of stuff. And then some of the bands even that I would come in contact with were like really kind of, they were like, they were not like outright weird, but there were things about them that were kind of sketchy. And I'm one of those people that like, I'm open to anything, man. I'm like, when it comes to art, I'm like ultra liberal. I'm like, hey man, if everybody in the presentation and the production of it is consenting and they're an adult, like, but when it's somebody who's kind of low key singing about disenfranchising people that look like me, or low key singing, kind of low key anti-gay stuff. I mean, that stuff was around in the early '90s, so yeah, that's a couple of times where I had to kind of pass.
Nice. Well, thank you for that, and and appreciate the back and forth on the email this week. I was really excited to get your stuff up and announced to the world, so I'm excited for the drop.
Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody who's been so kind and welcoming. Like I said earlier, I know how like these communities are like a sacred kind of thing, I mean, like, and we're in this crazy new period where like, people are forming like these lifelong best friendships with people who they've never actually shaken hands with, like, and it's people are forming these connections through cyberspace. And so just to be welcomed into a community and everybody's so cool, and everybody like gives the art a chance. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you, mate. Absolutely, and like you said, this community really is second to none. So it's beautiful to be able to bring new people in, and you know, we all truly appreciate your time too. It's so great to be able to get the history and understand your journey.
Let me just say this, that like I have been part of the community for like since February. I just wasn't making stuff for the community, but I've sort of been sort of like a fan of VeVe, you know, obviously been communicating with David for a while. And so yeah, I'm not ultra new to it, but I'm new to it in this. So
hey, Reese, speaking of community, can I just put a shout out to someone special? We're down in Australia, New Zealand. This is the VeVe World Time, right? Because that's where the bosses are. So it's Friday the 23rd. So I would just like to shout out to Michael Keane, who's organizing the room. It's his birthday today. So if everyone wants to join in and sing a happy birthday with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, feliz cumpleaños.
Happy birthday.
Beautiful cacophony.
Good job, everybody, doing that in unison.
That was great.
So, Mike, thank you very much.
Choir, right?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, Mark. Very nice. Thank you, sir.
We met Mike.
Now Davey's going to send him something.
In February, March.
Just get the abusive message.
My wife thinks he's my boyfriend, my VeVe, my NFT catcher boyfriend. We talk almost every day, but it is, the community is insane. You know, we've all said it so many times, and you know, some of us here are literally best friends, and even though we've never met in person, well, hopefully one day we will at some sort of conference, VeVeCon.
VeVeCon.
But yeah, thanks for everything you do, Mike, and I'll let you guys get back to the schedule.
Thanks, brother. Very much appreciated, Mark.
That's it. Hey, look, that's probably enough from me, guys. Do we want to open the floor to some questions? Hit Jermaine with some questions while he's here as well, and then carry on.
Yeah, 100%. Anybody want to kick it off, or should I pick somebody down the line? Sean's kind of next in the list. Big Sean from Philly. If you want to say hello, if you're available to talk. Maybe not. We'll go to Jordan. Sean will come up next. How about Ray Fixie? What's up, bud? I'm moving around the line. We've been making you wait so long, my man, but we're excited to talk to you. Do you have any questions for these guys, man? Everybody in the VeVe team, I'm sure, knows Ray at this point.
We do indeed. Welcome,
excellent. Well, welcome to the room, and I'll give you the floor a little bit if you want to say a little something, and whoever you want to ask and say hello.
Hello, everybody. You know, it's crazy. It's been a great community. You know, like so. I really appreciate being here. You know, like I really appreciate that. So, no Comic-Con for us anymore. So, but that's fine. Okay. So what I really want to ask, I would like to ask Dan, because all our people, hello.
Can't really hear you with the music behind you, Ray.
Who's playing the guitar?
Right, it sounds like you're on the beach over there in Africa. Maybe you could get away from the music potentially.
There was a hot mic. I got it there. Sorry about that, Ray. There was a hot mic going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So what I'm saying, like, you know, a lot of people are kind of like a little bit disappointed about what happened, like about the Comic-Con, because most of them are really very excited about what's about to happen or something. So. Okay, so okay, now you were explaining, I overheard you when you were explaining about the Comic-Con that you don't want to go into the details, and that's probably fine, you know, like, because most of the people that depend on because of the Comic-Con, like, we're gonna have a lot of new users to come into the app. So I think basically that's what most people are expecting to happen or something. So now that it happened, and I'm aware that you're dropping most of, like, the drop. There's a drop that you're dropping, like tomorrow, next tomorrow, like for 3 days or something. And there is something I noticed on the market. I think that gems it's a big thing for most every one of us. You understand? So what I want to ask, how soon are we getting the gems to Fiat or something like gems to Homie or something like that?
Yeah, I think Dan, if you're still here, you may have a more recent update on that. Possibly not. Might not be listening. So the gem to Fiat cash out is in development. I'm waiting on news of it myself. Some people may already be aware that we're not doing gem to Omi when after we move to Immutable. And then the devs build the next bit, you'll be able to go from Omi straight to the NFT. So you'll be able to transact with Omi in and out of the market. There'll be a portion of things available in the store. Eventually, there'll be exclusive items available in the store in Omi, that kind of thing as well. The timeline on that is a little bit longer because we need to move to Immutable before we can activate it. But the gem to Fiat is in development now, so that will come first, I would think.
Yeah. Would you venture to say that everybody will be able to cash out this year?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's in development now. I'm expecting it sort of. I don't want to. I hate putting dates and times to things because it's development, but it could be available in the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's kind of what I'm.
And then it'll probably take a long time to kind of onboard everybody. I know NBA Top Shot took a few months, doing 1,000 a day or something.
No.
Any insight on that?
It depends on the third party that we're going with, but we already kind of have a relationship with these guys. So to my knowledge, I'm sure Dan can kind of tidy this up later. You'll have the option to toggle it on basically.
Okay.
And then you go through the KYC process with them. So it will depend on how quick it is to process on their end. And most KYCs, I guess you'll start with a basic level of verification. And then over time, as you've been part of it, or you can verify with a bit more ID or something like that and level it up. So I guess it depends on how quickly they process those things. I think most of them have some form of auto verification with the basic levels. So it might not actually take that long to kind of get into the system. And then a bit longer to add your second level or third level ID. But I'll have to get a bit of an update from Dan whenever he tunes in again on that front.
For sure.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Because it's been a lot of argument in the community and all that, and everybody's been impatient because trust me, I feel I know that it's really been difficult getting gems, and you understand, for example, in my country, there is a limit that you can spend. There's a limit you can buy from the hub. If you want to buy gem through your bank account, you understand. It's really a headache. You understand, because there's a limit to that. But I believe if there is Omi if you can buy these collectibles with Omi, it makes things easier. You understand. You can just easily purchase it from the exchanges and all that.
The web platform will make it easier too. Once the web platform is live and we're not restricted by the purchasing limits of app stores, that will make it easier as well, which I think is part of the reason Dan, expects us to see a bit of a migration to the web platform, just because it will become a bit more functional from that end as well.
Oh, okay, that's good. But there's one last question I have. I don't know, a lot it's turned into an argument, So okay, now I really want to understand. You're moving to a remote table, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are these collectibles are they going to be able to sell on OpenSea, or we're just gonna be are they NFT or maybe just collectibles or something? Because I really need to know that, because some argument says that there are no NFTs, and some arguments say they're just collectibles or something like that. So I really need to understand that.
Yeah. So when we move to Immutable, we can bring the walls down, as we say. Because it gives you a lot more opportunity. Right now, you can't. There's nothing that uses or accepts a Go 721 NFT, right? So they just stay within the platform. But the ability to move them off the platform will come down to each licensor or each artist and whether they're comfortable with it. Now, we kind of reiterate this all the time, that we strongly believe that is where the industry is heading, and that eventually they will all make that choice. There's a lot of reasons for that. the main one being, you can get a perpetual royalty from these kind of collectibles programmed into it, right? So eventually, I think they will all take that path, but it will take quite a while to establish those contracts, establish the legalese that has to be rewritten to allow that kind of relationship. So it will come down to the licensors as to whether you can send them off to OpenSea or something like that. Now, some licensors will go straight to it. It just makes sense, and some are a lot more fluid. It will be easier for some to do it than others. Like some of the bigger companies obviously do way more, not even due diligence at this point, but they have to approve anywhere that your products are available and how you can use their IP and that kind of thing. And part of the stipulation with bringing them on board in the first place was that it was this closed ecosystem, right? And VeVe, in its original iteration, was supposed to remain a closed ecosystem, because back then, blockchain was a dirty word. No one knew what NFTs are, all of that kind of thing. But in the last 6 months, so much awareness has happened in the space, and so many licensors are more comfortable with it now that we have that opportunity to move blockchain and open it up. So, yeah, it's definitely it's our intention to try and make this as open and accessible as possible.
Oh, okay. Because the reason why I asked, because some of us want to keep. Okay, for me, I'm a collector, and I want to keep most of my NFTs for a long time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And it's important to know, like, okay, I could store my NFT, like maybe collectibles on a blockchain whereby I can easily access it anytime. You understand?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe not
Right, that's hot
to
still,
be
but I
on
think it's
VeVe.
okay whenever you want to eat it.
So
so it's hot mic there. But yeah, I'm with you. And I understand that that's important too. So
what?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then the issue of the master collector, like, I don't know how soon are you guys bringing it out, the master collector, because most of us we're crazy about completing set, because we know that the master collector is just like a race. It's just like it's just like a game. Everybody just want to complete their set.
absolutely.
And most people, I think it's exciting when you are able to get to 11, when you get to work your way hard, to recite 11, to be able to qualify for the master collector and all that. I think that's bring excitement into I think that's what makes VeVe different, and that's what makes it unique, because
absolutely
we want to complete our set and stuff like that. So I would like to know what about the master collector? What plan do you guys have for it going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, it's in development. I think we're consistently finding new things to add and other ways to build it in, because it really is something that permeates into every aspect and feature of the app. I think the goal is to have it rolled out by the end of the year, but I will have to get an update from Dan. It looks like he's kind of pieced out of the conversation. But yeah, look, I actually don't have an update on an exact date or when we can expect it. But obviously, it's in development.
Year, right?
Beg your pardon?
Would it be this year?
Yeah, the plan is to roll it out as soon as we can, right? So, I mean, as soon as we're able, now that we've got, the development team has continued to expand over the last few months, and we have a lot more hands on deck, so it will roll out as soon as it's ready. I can't really put more of a timeline to that at this point.
Questions about this. So,
all right, thanks a lot, and I appreciate that.
So my questions are coming from the artist point of view, right?
Yes.
So currently, when you guys sell my stuff on VeVe, there is no aftermarket royalties for the creator, correct? But so you're telling me that now people will be able to purchase editions on OpenSea using their smart contract, and so therefore, like in the case like a rare rabbit, flips for 1,000, I'm going to get a percentage of that on the stuff that's OpenSea, or how is that going to work for the creator once you guys do this? I'm curious, because that could be insanely cool, right? So for me anyway. So.
Absolutely, and that's again probably something that we're better talking to Dan about, so I don't speak too far out of turn. But it is a capability of these smart contracts. It's only a really recent one.
I sold a lot of my stuff on OpenSea, and I'm really happy with it. And so, I'm totally comfortable with stuff being on OpenSea personally. I like the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the same token, it's expanding your reach across more platforms too, right? There's a really great benefit to that. But yeah, it's part of the smart contract. Now, I don't know how it. I know that OpenSea are integrating the Immutable X protocol, so I assume their contracts become interoperable. So if you have something programmed into an Immutable X smart contract, then whatever's programmed in would, that functionality can be available on an OpenSea or on another marketplace that includes that.
This will be for new releases. So, for example, stuff from my first drop. If somebody ends up selling an OpenSea later, I don't get any action, right? It has nothing to do with me, or is it?
I think the contracts, when it's reminted on OpenSea, on Immutable and those things, it would be built in at that point. Or a lot of these contracts are upgradable, the smart contracts. So I guess at some point you can then build in or add that new code base that enables that sort of, secondhand fee or perpetual royalty or whatever you want to call it. But personally, I don't know enough about the technical coding side of it.
I'll talk to Dan about it.
Yeah,
interesting. I'm really interesting. Hey, Ray, Fixie, what country in Africa do you live in?
I'm in Nigeria.
Cool.
Hello?
Yeah, that's fucking rad.
I'm from Nigeria, but right now I'm in Kenya.
And that's just from the audience, I think, Ray. A lot of people are just really interested just to hear a bit more about you. Like people at the start thought you were a fake person, and then obviously some of us seen some of your photos you put on Twitter. Do you want to just give us a bit of a background of, obviously we don't need your personal details, but like where the hell do you get all this coin and all these gems from?
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, the thing is, when I came into VeVe, okay, I got to know about VeVe because I'm not really into NFT. I'm just about real estate and Bitcoin. So when I think the time Bitcoin was really going shit and stuff. So okay, I was in a Discord group, and this guy introduced couple of what's it called to me, couple of NFTs project and stuff like that. So I look into it, ERN, I look into Sound, and I look into Homie and stuff. So I read about Homie and it's already then VeVe and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So the first thing I did was I bought some Homie. I bought about 10 million Homies first. No, I bought it up. I think around 0.1 or something like that. Like I bought it way high. I think I bought it up because I FOMO'd in. Understand? So there was a lot of hype that was going on. So yeah, when I bought it, when I found out about it, like I was careful, at first when I read it up, and I started buying, like collectibles. The market was closed, so I was buying on Telegram. I think I got that through the Ecomi official group and stuff like that. So I started buying them until the market was opened and stuff like that. I for me, like I just I think I got addicted, into the project or read it up, and the more I try to buy collectibles, the more like I got attached to the app. You understand? That's why I personally call it like devil's little happiness. So yeah, so because I'm not gonna lie to you, I saw like 90% of my Bitcoin for VeVe, because I believe in the project, I believe in it and stuff like that, and most especially when it's that early, I think I believe in it. And the reason why, that's why I threw that question in about gems too, because it's very difficult, buying gems, because most of the time you have to buy, gems from the what's it called, of the app. At first I was buying from my bank account, and it becomes a problem. My bank manager called me and it was like, "Oh man, you're removing too much money, from your bank and stuff. We keep saying like, what are you buying, stuff." So I had to stop that. Like, okay, let me just buy from Telegram and all that. Fine. A whole lot of people think that, okay, what's it called? Maybe I'm fake or something like that, and that's fine. I'm not trying to put a point to anybody. I was not on Twitter at first. I just joined Twitter. Like I just came to Twitter like a month or something. It wasn't even a month or something. I don't know, like about a month, because a guy, they keep talking about me, and I keep getting screenshots on Telegram that, oh, they're talking about you. I was just doing my thing. I was just buying what I love, Not like I was trying to do it like, oh, okay, I want to impress someone or I want to prove a point to someone, I'm just doing me, like, collecting what I love.
So when
Have
the
you been a
guy, there
collector
was
before, or is this? Are you like me? Are you basically an old man pretending to be a young kid collecting stuff again?
I'm not an old man. I'm I'm,
I'm the old man, not you.
I'm sure not an old man. I did an interview with VeVeWiki and stuff like that, and like I'm a musician, and my video is out there, So it's not about you know what I grew up with most of this collective, but I think that's why I love VeVe more, because most of these characters on VeVe, they are something that most of them I grew up with it, with them. You understand? I remember my mom keeps buying all this stuff for me. Physical, I've got a whole lot of them. As a kid, and
Nice, yeah.
even in my house, I've got a whole lot that the physical ones that I bought. Like most of the time. So when I saw the opportunity, like, oh, VeVe is got those ones like Batman and all that, and when Superman came out, trust me, among all the whole, like, what's it called, the collectibles on VeVe, Superman is my best, because he's like my superhero when I was growing up and stuff like that. But I think people have issues with that because I've been buying Superman Hub, and I won't stop buying it. So I think people just, okay, the thing is, when I was buying, people don't understand. The more you buy the collectibles, the more there's a value, because you can VeVe gave an opportunity of you to decide how much you want to sell your collectible. You might decide to sell it for 100 gems, and I feel like, okay, fine, I'm buying it up and I want to sell it for 200 gems. That is why they're like, you can make your own choice and stuff like that. So there are people who sell under retail, but I still don't understand why they do that. So that's why I've been getting this kind of like, maybe should I call it hate, maybe should I call it like, a lot of people have been they feel like, okay, I'm manipulating the market, and I'm not doing that. We are creating awareness and stuff like that. I want more people to come to VeVe, definitely, because
Yeah.
yeah,
We've had a
because
chat about it quite a bit, Ray, and it's like there's, people love you when they have the collectibles that you start buying up and they see the price of their collectibles go up. People hate you when you buy the collectibles that they don't have, right? You can't win.
yeah,
And we see it with all these other NFT projects, like the likes of Pranksy and stuff will come in and just buy, there'll be a 10,000 collectible drop, and Pranksy will go in and buy 1,000 of them, for example. So it happens in every game, whether it's NFTs or not. So it's going to happen, and yeah, there will be people that give you hate, inverted commas, sometimes because you've priced them out of a collectible. But hey, that's how the world works, right?
yeah, you're right about that, because I do have I've got a whole lot of inverse. Some people they throw it at me, buy these collectibles and stuff. I was like, no, I'm not buying it for you to dump it. You understand? Because so many people want me to buy it because they're holding it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I just want to buy what I love, like, because me buying everything shows that, like, I have to buy what I feel like, okay, it's going to have value. When Supermarket came out, I knew that I was going to buy it. I knew that this was an opportunity, because I feel like it's a single set, and the value will only go up, because you don't need like 1, 2, 3 Superman to complete the set. And with the master collector, I think Superman is really gonna really go up. And I felt like, okay, fine, I want to buy it or something like that. I don't know, like, okay, maybe some people like it, some people don't like it, but it's fine. But it doesn't make me stop like collecting what I love. You understand? Because it's what I love, and I can stop collecting it and stuff like that. So most people just feel like if I buy them, then I'm gonna like sell them, like dump it. I can buy something for like 500 gems, 600 gems, that I still want to sell it for 400 gems. It's not possible. I want to hold it because I feel like, these collectibles, like, I feel VeVe is early. But I don't yet know the number of what's it called, the members, that the users that we have on VeVe. I still want to ask that kind of question, like, okay, I mean, you understand, you can imagine VeVe going to 1 million users, and 1 million users need 8,000 Superman. What do you think is going to happen? It's not going to even sell for 5,000 gems. It's going to sell way more, because now 1 million people want to fight for a collectible. So everything
Exactly,
is
yeah.
just gonna go up. So I find like an opportunity that most people don't understand that, but I can't blame them. You understand? I'm a collector and also an investor and a businessman. So I know how this thing works. And I know that
Exactly, yeah.
VeVe is early, and VeVe is, trust me,
I always tell people, I feel Omin and VeVe is the giant of NFT. I don't have any other investment on any NFT aside from VeVe, and because I believe in it, because I feel like okay, it's the only one that can give me, like that can really give me the joy. Because most of the time, before I go to bed, I do VeVe. When I wake up, it's VeVe. You understand? It's like my Bible now. So it's it's just crazy. Because because when I go to sleep, when I wake up, I always read my Bible, but there is no day. But now the first thing is VeVe. It's just crazy.
Someone
But
said
I
that
just
recently,
wish that.
Ray, is what's the first thing we all touch when we wake up in the morning? And it used to be basically your phone, but now it's basically VeVe. Like we just get on our phone and we check the VeVe marketplace, or you see your alerts that came in overnight. It's VeVe in the morning, VeVe at the night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I just hope that people can see. So when people talked about the comic, and trust me, I wasn't really like maybe probably expecting too much from the Comic Con stuff like that, because I still know where VeVe is going. VeVe is still young, and it's gonna grow. Like it's gonna keep growing. When I came to the app, I saw the price of Weasel. I was like, well, my first Weasel was like about 4,000, like about 4,500 USDT. And when I saw that, I was like, what? And I saw the original price, and I was like, what? And I look at the deals. I was like, what? Like seriously? And I was like, no, I gotta try this thing, because like the Hill is just crazy. The ROI, like it's just very crazy. And I was like, okay, fine. Most people might not see it now, but I'm sure that in a couple of months they are gonna see what VeVe really is. You understand? Most people just need to be educated about how this thing works or something. And I don't understand. Like I have a big problem with how can you buy a collectible for 80 gems, and after 5-10 minutes you're selling them for 60 gems or 55 gems?
I
I
know
don't
it.
understand
It
how it
annoys
works.
all of us in it. Exactly. We all just scratch our head every time that happens. I think unfortunately it's because people are buying these gems at 75 or 80 cent in the dollar, and so even though they're selling below retail, they're actually just sort of breaking even. They're probably just buying these collectibles just in the hope that they might spike, and then if they don't spike straight away, they just get rid of them. But it annoys, and we all get confused by it. And just you see it in other projects as well at times. I just don't understand why they would be doing it. Like, why lose money on it? But there's just, I guess, people looking for a quick flip and paper hands, as we call them.
Yeah, I just feel like it's still flooded by crypto boys, and I hope that's gonna change. That's why I'm hoping that the master collector programs comes in, so that everybody will really know like how to benefit from it, and you understand what I mean. So because most people, I'm not gonna lie to you, I post every time, and most people just they are waiting for open sale. They feel like okay, if they can sell their collectible in open sale, it's gonna work a whole lot. You understand? So I think that's what most people basically are depending on right now. So I feel like Master Collector could be a game changer. You understand, bro? Like Rick said, he doesn't know when it's gonna when that's gonna happen, but I hope it happens soon. Because it helps all of us. It helps the market. It
Yeah,
gets people excited.
absolutely, and it realigns the incentives there. If you have more incentive to keep the collectibles or to participate in the app, it changes the game a little bit on how you interact with it. The master collector is also part of the app retention strategy. If there is that, you're earning rewards for that participation, or even if it's just for sharing on socials or those kind of things, then you are more incentivized to participate in the app. And for all of us that are opening it every day anyway, it's just a nice little way to earn something on the side from that as well. So it's
Reece, do you think is it sort of going to be an all or nothing thing with the master collector? Are you going to sort of wait until you have it all defined, or potentially would you sort of try to roll things out a little sooner? Like I always harp on it about it because I've spent so much money on them. But like Batman, for example, some of us have the 5 series of Batman, right? So would you potentially bring something out for, say, those people that they might get early access, or is it sort of, are you waiting for the master collector program to sort of finalize everything?
Yeah, I think it will roll out as a more generalized style system to start, and then and then we can sort of put together those narrowed down iterations of it, whether it's rewarding the Batman users or the Superman collectors. But I think to start with, in general, it will be more of a everyone has the same chance to sort of to level up their ranking or whatever it is, and then as the journey progresses because I mean it's a huge thing to actually build into the app, right? And obviously we're combining a lot of new technologies as it is, and so each smaller iteration or targeted piece of that also needs to be then designed and built and be able to autonomously select you as a Batman fan or as a Superman fan or all those kind of things. So look, from a dev point of view, I imagine it's a hell of a lot of work. Otherwise we would have had it live already. But I think the first iterations will be kind of more general across the platform. Okay. But that's just my assumption. It might be that while they're building the generalized version of it, it's actually quite easy to build the other version. I'm not in the weeds on the back end on that stuff.
Obviously, you might give Easter eggs or incentives like the Ritmo thing in the meantime anyway.
Yeah. There's plenty of those kind of things that will continue to roll out as well. I mean, as Al Khan alluded to in the video and as we have over the last couple of months, I mean, there's a lot more interactivity. We're obviously leveling up the collectibles that are dropping on the platform and the capabilities there. Upgrading the new render engine gave us more opportunity for that kind of gamification and those sort of upgrades to existing collectibles. So yeah, it's all definitely in the works. But development takes way longer than anyone wants it to. Basically,
I'm a software engineer. I know all about it, Reese.
yeah, that's it. So you have all these kind of expectations and all of that, but so there's just things that happen, and then you throw in the mix like you have this development schedule, and then say last week, well, we had to throw the capture and those kind of things in to make the system more equitable. Then this week, we're obviously trying to figure out what happened with the clock timer resetting for some users. And just on that, I think some users have been affected because their clocks might have been manually set instead of automatically set, like maybe from Clockgate or something like that. So that there's a little suggestion for people if their timer.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I'll admit it. I had the clock set because the usual setting it in there so you could bookmark the collectible. And even though my time was basically correct, it just, because it wasn't automatic, set to automatic, I had that issue as well. So it was a bit disappointing because, it wasn't trying to do anything malicious. It was just, so the capture would just briefly show up and then hide. So it happened to a number of people. So I think, I think hopefully most people know about that now.
That's it. Yeah. So, I mean, and maybe that isn't the issue, but it could be. So if anyone's kind of sitting and wondering, that might help. We haven't had a drop since, so I guess we'll find out.
It was happening anyway. Just with the models that were on the market. I actually just tested the Batgirl or whatever that was on the market, and the same thing would happen there. So
and then when you set the clock to automatic, it didn't happen.
It fixed it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
So it was just
there's confirmation. Then.
There must be something in the capture that looks at the time on your clock versus the real time or something like that, and it just would briefly show up and hide. So it's confirmed. Your clock has to be automatic for it to.
Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully that helps some people out there as well. Now, guys,
sorry, I'm going to be naughty because I've got to go to bed. But I just want to say today, I'm one of the people I thought you were a fake bidder because at the time you were bidding against me on virtually everything I was trying for in auction, and there was a lot of fake bidders. And obviously I now know you've just got deep pockets and you were genuinely after the collectibles are not part of that posse. But I've been asked to ask you, have you got a red Labbit number 265? And can you please answer?
I love how many people are searching for this Labbit. Ray, do you possess that Labbit?
Yeah, the Labbit.
Yeah, number 265.
Of course. I sure love the. Okay, you made the new one or the one that was dropped previously?
No, the red one that's been dropped. Brock's looking for it, isn't he?
Okay. The red one. See, trust me, I haven't looked. I'm just gonna check.
What's the story behind this, Claire? Why 265?
I don't. You'd have to ask him. But everywhere I go, I see him asking. So I just want Ray to answer. Bless him.
I'm just, I've got a whole lot of rabbits. I bought them up, so I'm just, I'm gonna check. I've not had time to check because there's a lot of work. I'm gonna check.
We'll give you a few minutes, Ray. We know you've got a collection there.
I wish I had that problem. That I had a lot of work to find my rabbit.
But just a quick question to Jermaine and Frank. Which are your favourite labbit and rabbit?
My favorite.
Mine
so
would have to
you
be
want
the,
to? Wait. Does she want to know? Does she want to know like who my favorite rabbits are and who your favorite rabbit is, or do you?
Oh, that'd be both then. if
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Well, on your drop, I kind of like the solid colored ones. I mean, the camo one is cool, but I like the blue one. Looks really good. I like that one. And for mine, probably of this selection, even though it's an older version, I think I put the toy out like 10 years ago. I like the choice cuts one because I had fun designing that one. And then when we released the toy, we did a release party at like a really cool butcher shop in Los Angeles, and the people made like rabbit sausage and cooked it, and everybody got like rabbit sausages, and it was like a fun release party. So I'm real fond of the choice cuts one myself.
So my favorite rabbit that Frank did was the I like the backstab one. Because it has all of my favorite elements, like bunnies and knives. But my favorite one that I put together. I mean, that's a difficult question because it's like asking me who is my favorite child. But I like the assassin. The assassin. That's the red one with the black eyes. He's a little different from everybody else, but to do what he has to do, he needs to be different. So there you go.
There's a lot of speculation in the community, a lot of true crime reporting, if you will, that the assassin was actually responsible for plunging the knife into the backstab of Labbit. Can you confirm?
I have a question for Jermaine. Do you ever get accused of seeing Watership Down and being influenced by it, or were you influenced by it? Because I get that a lot in my work.
I saw Watership Down, when I was younger, and strangely enough, and I know like there's probably some people out there that are like going to hear me say this and go like bullshit, but it was not influential on me at all. I mean, I'm not to say I didn't like it. I liked it, but it didn't I can't really trace any, direct line from like Watership Down to me using bunnies. Me using bunnies was totally because for years I had one.
Yeah, because you had your pet Sage.
Yeah, so yeah. But Watership Down is it's a fucking great book, great movie. I love that.
Yeah, I was just curious. I've heard it a lot, and I just wondered if you had the same thrown at you.
Right on.
Hey, VeVe fam, I'm going to have to love you and leave you all. Got a couple of things to do. I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys for putting this on again and for bringing everybody together. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jermaine, Alex, Noah, David, Dan. Everybody showed up today. Really appreciate your time, guys, and thanks for giving the community
and Reese,
so much
thank
insight.
you again, as I always say. You make it happen. You made the room so big, and I know you've been traveling a lot, and you were tired, and you took over and really made it happen. So we appreciate it very, very much. And
right back
say
at you
goodbye,
guys.
but yeah, man.
Yep.
Thanks,
And
Reese.
good luck, everybody, on the weekend and starting tomorrow.
Hey man, I want to tell anybody that's still here from the VeVe team that you guys are actually doing something kind of important, because if your artist program works for you and you guys keep adding more artists and supporting the artists, probably going to be like the first time in fucking history that like a larger company with unlimited potential growth is kind of like treating people right. You know, I mean, Jermaine can say the same thing. You know, I've gotten like burned and disappointed on so many deals over the decades, and if you guys are successful with your artist program, I think you'll be setting the bar for how creatives should be treated, you know, by companies. And
yeah, it's awesome to hear.
I personally am very appreciative of how you guys are working with me.
We really
Likewise.
appreciate it, mate. That's you know, it's. I think that we all know that it's coming from a point of fandom for us too, you know, and passion, and that's what's driving this business, and that drives our intentions behind it too. So it's definitely the aspiration. That's for sure.
It's one of the things that attracted me to come on board. You know, I'm not nearly as hardcore of a collector as Dave and Dan, but you know, I'm into the scene. I have pieces like I've been gushing to Jermaine all week that I own one of his prints. It's like front and center in my in my bedroom. You know, and Frank, man, at one point I had the Beastie Boys Bruce Lee print, and it got ripped in a move, and I'm still really effing sad about it. But yeah, I mean, it just comes through in their passion for collecting and for art. That's why I'm excited to be here, and I think that, you know, as long as we continue to in that spirit, then we can't go wrong.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And yeah,
Reese, I know you got to go, but I just did you see the news about Immutable and the IMX? Is any sort of comment on that?
Well,
I saw they're giving away IMX for Gods Unchained, but obviously IMX versus Omi or alongside Omi. Any thoughts on that? I know you're a big Ethereum.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any sort of IMX Omi cross promotion just at this point. But I was in the Immutable chat we did with Robbie, and the couple of AMAs afterwards. That's why I was dropping so many breadcrumbs about playing Gods Unchained and trying to get people involved in that, because I had an inkling that they would release a token.
I don't know if you saw my tweet yesterday. I said that I was like facepalm. I was like, I knew I should have.
Yeah, I was trying to push people that way without saying it out loud. But yeah, great news for them. Great news for them. It's a really, they needed it to sort of run their system, and it's a cool way to build that engagement as well. There's also a Gods Unchained specific token, the Gods token, that they announced a few weeks ago. But yeah, I'll be following that journey for sure. Immutable, they're just going strength to strength at the moment, and yeah, every day really cements our choice. I think very happy to be moving there. So yeah, but that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the conversation. And we'll catch up again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, Reese. And Alex, you're welcome to stay, or you know, if you need to go as well. But thank you so much for being here as well, man. And I'm sure the community has embraced you and is going to continue to. So welcome, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's actually, you know, it's one of the coolest things about being on board is just how passionate this community is, and just learning about all of the different interests across the board, whether it's art or collectibles or, you know, Marvel or whatever the case is, or crypto in general. Like, I'm learning a ton just being part of these AMAs myself. So yeah, I can stick around for a little bit longer, but
excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect. And
so are there any VeVe team members still in the room that are actually working with the digital files and doing the coding and building those? Because I have a couple of technical questions.
Is Trevor around?
I don't see him. Let me see if I can ping him. You might be able to. I probably can't. Nope. That's all right. No, he's. I don't think he's here at the moment.
My main thing is
what's
it
your
touches
question?
back on. So my thing, it touches back on what was spoken before. You know, I do a lot of designer toys, but there's physical limitations. So some toys are too expensive to make. You know, you can't do a lot of fancy stuff with the toys. It gets too expensive. So my big thing that I'm really excited about in the future is, you know, like, you know, when will sort of like operability of the figure happen? Like, you know, when can I have a figure that like shoot rockets or poop diamonds or something like that? I think that's the thing I'm really curious about and looking forward to, like the increased like play value of the collectibles.
Well, I think we have some of those
over
interactive
time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. We have some of those interactive collectibles now. So, for instance, the Ghost Trap, opens. There's sound. It sucks in Slimer if you have also the Slimer collectible. So it's just a matter of how far you want to take it and how far the platform and the processing power can handle of a phone device. But oh shit, did I lose you guys?
We got you, man. Unless you're gone.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I think my AirPods just died. Yeah, I mean, so if you want to explore some of those opportunities, yeah, then let's definitely talk about it.
I had a question for both of the artists that kind of ties in what Khozik was asking about, if that's cool.
Hey, Crypto, what's up, bud? Go ahead, man.
What's going on, man? So my question was kind of right in line with what Frank was talking about. So I was going to ask both of you artists. I kind of see the digital art and where you're kind of going with it, because I think in 5 years the technology will kind of allow us to do a lot more of what you're asking about, because at that point I think a lot of y'all creative change and restrictions will be kind of completely removed, and we can really see what's inside of y'all creators' heads. So I was asking,
Going a little crypto there, Crypto.
If you guys are familiar with the 3D AR and VR technologies that I know it's been out for about 10 years roughly. Hello?
We still got you, man. What do you got? What's the question?
Oh shit. Okay. So I was asking.
That all broke up real
are
bad.
they from? Oh, it did. Okay. Can you hear me now? I can ask the question again. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So just asking. For me, I know that the digital, what you're talking about, to be able to fully express these ideas and get real fun and creative with the toys. I'm looking real forward to that, because I think that's.
Yeah, we're losing them. I'm gonna take over for a minute here. We'll get him back. I'll get that question out. I'll reset the room a little bit since we're kind of starting fresh without Reese a little bit. I want to introduce some of the people up on stage. I'm going to go across the line. Everybody's a great follow up here. We have Cameron and Brian up on the top line, two guys who we have been chopping it up on VeVe for months, and great guys, teammates of mine in every way. Sean, one of the admins from I shouldn't take too long to introduce everybody. Sean, Andy, Mark, we're all the admins of the VeVe community on Facebook. Obviously, everybody knows Jermaine, Jordan, and Jason Ring. I want to give a special thanks to those guys. Are big time VeVe collectors, and I would like to let them speak a little bit when I'm finished. But they helped set this up with Ray, and they've been, I've been chatting it up with those guys for months and months. Really, really great guys. We have Frank Khozik here, Mark, my partner in a lot of things, co-founder of NFTcatcher.io with me. We've done a lot of great stuff together. We have a lot of people that are YouTubers for VeVe. We'd love to hear from you guys throughout the night. Johnny Dunn's here. Kay is here. We heard from earlier. We have Frank Smits all the way from Hong Kong. Really amazing guy if you're not familiar with Frank. We have some really great artists in the room. We have Klim. We have Misha Klein in the room. If you guys don't know Misha, he is one of the pioneers of 3D animated, like 3D animated cartoon art, I guess, is if I think that's the word, from way back almost 30 years ago. Really awesome guy with a lot of cool stuff going on. We have Casey from the NFT Catcher team, who I'm happy to have here listening in. My boy Crypto Wizard, one of the OGs of VeVe and the VeVe collectible crowd. He's the man. You got to follow Crypto Wizard. You ever hear him talk, you know how interesting he is. We got Rob down there, one of the art experts. I told you about him earlier, how much I respect his knowledge. He's so knowledgeable about all kinds of art things. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. I'm sure I missed a bunch of people. But I don't want to talk about, I don't need to talk about that for too long. Ray, let me ask you a question, because I'm kind of a market guy like you. Like I've been a ticket broker for a long time, so like we do a lot of those things. Red Rocks is our venue, and we know that at a certain point, if after it's sold out and there's a bunch of people kind of selling stuff for cost, if you buy a whole bunch of people, like that, you just control it. So like you've kind of done this before, probably, right? You didn't just come in and realize, hey, I can just kind of bring up the floor and like what's your background in that kind of market stuff?
Okay. I think it's something I learned from the OG. When
From
I
the
came
what?
to from the OGs.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. When I came to VeVe, I didn't know anything about mint. There was nothing about mint, and I didn't really know how it works. I
Okay.
just buy because the market wasn't opened. You understand?
Sure.
Like
When
so
when did you come to VeVe first?
I came to VeVe around April 28th. So
Okay. Yep.
yeah, so I just buy it up. The market was closed, so I just kept on buying, and like I didn't know how it works. Because when DeLorean drops, I could remember that on Secretary, I bought Secretary. I bought like about 10 for 1,000 grand. You understand? I bought one, so I didn't know how it was. But later, I saw all these prices going down. I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, I was a little bit disappointed and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yep.
Then I look at Donnie, I look at the prices. Then I look at Rizzo. Then I look at Barbers. I look at him. You understand? I saw that they are expensive because they were knowing the market.
Yep.
Orders. So I look at the orders. I was like, okay, fine. If I can buy this, if I can buy this up, definitely. So I look at Ritmo. Ritmo got me because of the animated stuff. So I started
Mm-hmm.
buying, or started bidding for every Ritmo, and Dragon Gate came out. Okay, the funny thing is, I have never. Okay, I think it was only Supergirl. I have never gotten like a UR on drops.
Oh, really? You've never got
I
a
was
UR
never
on
lucky.
drops? Oh
I
man,
was never lucky.
you
I'm
got to get
funny
those
enough.
skills up. The quick
Yeah,
fingers.
I was never lucky. I was only lucky with Supergirl, and that was a fucking eye meat. A fucking eye meat, you understand? So that was the only time I was lucky with.
Yeah.
Till date, I'm never lucky with. But I don't mind because even if I'm lucky with it, I'm still gonna buy those low mint to the market. You understand? It's just like when
Yes,
debt
sir.
drops. You understand? I
Yep.
think I bought about 15 low mint like that sub 100. You understand? So that's why I'll buy it and I look at it like So I keep on buying these things. You understand? Like I keep on buying them because the more you buy them, the more they are off the market, the more the prices appreciate. You
Yeah.
understand?
Hey.
You
Yeah. I
understand?
understand. Yeah.
And
No,
so
that's
most
for sure.
people, like I said, I was just doing my thing. I was just buying. I set a target for myself that I was going to 500. I was now on Twitter. You understand? So, but then there was this guy that just contacted me that everybody is looking for you. You gotta be on Twitter. I was like, what am I gonna do on Twitter? Because I'm not a social media person. To be honest with you, I
Mm-hmm.
really like I don't like social media. To be honest, when you look at my Instagram, I hardly post there. I just like to do things you understand. But I saw VeVe like is a great community. You understand? We can learn one or two things from each other and stuff like that. There are some people, to them they just feel like, oh, okay, let me just VeVe is a place whereby I can just buy the collectible and flip for 10 gems. Or, VeVe is bigger than that. They are not saying that. But the only way I can, okay, now to be honest with you, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one out there that is buying all these collectibles, you understand? They are holders buying silently. They're not telling these people, you understand? So, but me, I had to like, okay, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. People need to know that, okay, this is what my collectibles are worth. Okay, fine. I don't blame them because Vivi gave you like $100, like 100 gems collectibles, and you feel like, okay, fine, 20 gems is okay for me to sell it. When Superman
Yeah.
was Superman, they were selling it for like I think 65 gems. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? You understand? This is a great stuff. And I started buying it up. A lot of guys told me that Superman can never be 500 because there were too many minted. I said, okay, no problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. You don't believe in it, but I believe in it, and I know it's gonna get there. So I saw a whole lot of people like I kept on buying it up. I kept on buying it up. there were a whole lot of people that leaked it so cheaply. You understand? I bought it up, and so many people thought what's it called? I try to flip it. I don't flip it. Now I think I'm like 20 collectibles away to 1,000. You understand? And I'm sure I'm gonna get to like 1,000 like
This weekend.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Probably. So that's the thing. If I sell what I'm buying, I'm not gonna be at that. I wanna like acquire a whole lot of collectibles, because I'm not gonna sell them now. I'm just buying them, acquiring them. I understand that not everybody that have the capital.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't buy low mint, trust me, I'll be like 3,000 to 4,000 collectibles by now. But I spend hugely on low mint.
Right.
They don't
Yep,
come cheap.
gotcha.
They're very, very expensive. You understand?
What's
So
the lowest mint you have?
the lowest mint I have so far is 41.
41. Nice. Do you
Yeah.
want to say which one that is, or I don't know if you.
Yeah. I came late, so I'm not lucky. You understand?
Yeah.
I didn't come when the first season. So
Oh,
I think
my.
this one. So when I found out about low mint, when I found out about low mint, I said, okay, fine, cool. I gotta buy this up. You understand? Because I know how much they worth. There are some low mint that I bought. I bought them really very expensive, and I was like, oh, okay, no problem, cool. So on drops, I spent like minimum of 35,000 gems, to buy these low mints. You understand? Just to have like a whole lot of it. You understand? So I just have them. I have a lot of sects and stuff like that, and I'm not willing to sell them now because I can't throw them cheaply. Even though people feel like, oh, you're buying it, you can. If you're buying this, you don't want it. I know an OG who's got about 200 bubbles, and I think that's why bubbles is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You understand that kind of stuff, So and these stuffs, I feel like, okay, fine. To me, if I can buy as much as I can, you understand. I feel like, okay, it's not to prove a point to anybody. If you want to sell early, you can do that. Everybody can do whatever they want. But for me, I feel like they've not gotten to their peak, and I know that in a couple of months we're gonna be talking about 2, 3, 4 hex of what these collectibles are. Like Givenchy Pride, fine. People can sell cheaply. I saw Givenchy Pride when it was 200, and I started buying it up. I bought it up to 800. I saw the people dumping it to 600. Then I picked it up again, bought it, and it got to 1.7, and people started selling it again.
Yep.
And I keep telling people there are things you sell, there are things you don't sell.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I sold mine a few days ago in 1975. So we'll see in the future if that was smart or not.
Yeah.
I'll just put it out. I'll just put it out there. I was being honest. That's what I did. I love it. It's really nice. But I wanted to have that little bit of a war chest and whatever it is. So I made that move. We'll see how that ends up, man.
So
I know you're laughing at me.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's why I said there are some, okay, like it's not everybody that have the capital to do this, but that is also the way, like, it's not everything. Okay, like you sell yours, fine. There's so many people that come to me and they want me to because they know that I've got a whole lot of these collectibles and they want me to like up them, sell to them like
Right. Okay.
cheaply. Sometimes I help them. I just do them immediately. I do it for them. I buy it back from the market. Do you understand? I'm minding how much I buy them. You understand? A lot of people have dropped Givenchy Pride tonight, and I bought like few Givenchy Pride. I bought few Superman, and I plan to keep buying Superman. And I want to do that when nobody's watching. Like, and it's just everybody's just gonna wake up one day and see it at 1,000, and that is my plan. And I want to take it. I want to take it up. So I just love buying all these collectibles. I just want to buy them and keep them, because I feel like they are really gonna do great. VeVe is early. How many? I don't even know how many. I think I don't know. Maybe we are up to 100,000. I don't know, but so far I feel like we are early, and I know that by the time we are 500,000 to 1 million, everything is just gonna explode. You understand? So
Yeah, yeah.
I just believe in the project, and I know that like the team is really really working out, even though they are getting pressurized from a lot of people that are getting pressure from left and right and all that. But I just feel that if everybody can just be patient with these people, I feel like they're doing the right thing, and they're gonna make a whole lot of people rich. You understand? And
Yeah.
that's if they be patient with them. You understand? Like there's so many things in store. So that's just it. So people saying I'm manipulating the market and all that. I can't blame them because they can't see the bigger picture and they can't tell me not to buy what I want to buy. You can tell me not to buy some just because you don't want the price to go up and you don't want me to buy it. Even want to list this ship for me, fine, I can buy it. I'm keeping it for the future and I don't have any plans to sell them now. Maybe probably in 6 months, in 1 year, I can start selling them when I feel like and I've gotten the right value for that. Do you understand? I can start
Yep.
selling duplicates, you understand? But for now, I don't think I just want to throw them cheaply, you understand? Because I know that these things they are gonna be out of reach in a couple of months. Just like the season one, Like look at Toad for
Yeah.
example, Weasel, you can't even get them. Look at Lambit. I feel like Lambit is very even cheap right now. Selling for 1,000 gems is super cheap because those dragons, those Lambit, they're not even gonna sell for 3,000 gems anymore. Very soon. Coming, you understand? They're just gonna be like par with all those bubbles and all that. So that's why I'm trying to take advantage of these collectibles before they really really go up because I know more users are coming. With Comic Con, without Comic Con, what's are gonna get out? So many people are gonna come into the app and they are going to invest heavily. You understand? So I'm just trying to make good use of the opportunity that I have right now. So that's all. So
Yeah.
so many people just angry like, oh, okay, he's raising the floor. No, it's not all about that. We're having fun. You can make money and still have fun. You understand? So it doesn't. That life is that simple. So
Yeah.
that's
No, I hear that. I mean, you're allowed to buy whatever you want. If somebody puts it out there for a certain price, and you're the first one that wants to buy it, you're allowed to buy it, bro. I definitely
yeah,
hear that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
Hey,
really
Michael, can
appreciate.
I ask something to Ray?
yeah.
One
Can
second. I think Kate is going to go next, and then I'm going to give the floor to the Ring brothers to chop it up a little bit, and then we'll move to you. I'm sorry about that, but we'll. Kate Samuels asked me on the side if she could ask a question, and I said yes. So hello, Kate.
Hi, I was just wondering if you guys are going to do anything on Twitter Spaces to talk to your buyers. I feel like that is an avenue you guys could utilize.
For VeVe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
introduce the
No,
artists.
Twitter Spaces is great. They do a lot of stuff on Discord. I'm sure they'll consider that. I mean, I don't want to say they don't need buyers, but they. You just mean like just them to talk to like the Twitter crowd?
Yeah,
Like,
just
get
the
people
crowd of NFT buyers that all of most of your buyers are on Twitter.
Okay.
So
How are you finding it, Kate, these days? Because it seems to be quite buggy when we've done it. I know Orange Bag Lady has ran a few Twitter Spaces. Shout out to OBL. It seemed to be quite buggy because it's obviously a new feature. Is it working well for you these days?
it actually does. I've held a couple of political debates on there, and it's not too bad. It's not too buggy as long as you only have a few speakers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just
we'll
We were sort
jump
of
in quickly.
we were the ones that
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Yeah, this is Alex. Yeah, we are looking at Twitter Spaces, and we'd love to try it. We were actually going to try it last week, but like you said, we found it a little buggy. But I jumped on, I think the other day with Kyle. Kyle Wilson was holding a Spaces, and I jumped in just to kind of feel out the platform and the functionality. So yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you for that.
Great, I'm glad to know that.
Yeah, because it was interesting, Kate. Like we were the ones that sort of got the first ever Clubhouse app happening with Reese back a couple of months ago, and then as Mike said, they've been over to Discord, which some people love Discord, some people sort of find it a bit more of a barrier to entry. So I guess it's hard for the team to know where to go and not be jumping around too much. But it's interesting that you're going to try out Twitter, Alex. You want to bring up the Ring brothers, Jordan?
They're
You
up. They're
available
up.
for chat now?
So What's up, guys?
Hey, Keen. What's up, buddy? This is a great chat, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the help this week.
Absolutely. Jordan, I mean, I got to give you props, buddy. You initiated contact, or reached out to Ray. I'm not sure how that all went down, but Ray, you've been instrumental in helping Jordan and I to complete some sets the last couple of weeks, buddy. And you're a collector, but you're also you're a gentleman, and we appreciate you and happy to have you. Happy to hear your voice,
Thanks
man.
a lot.
We've just been
Thanks.
texting on Telegram, bro. It's nice to hear you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, bro.
Ray, what I'm just curious, man. You were saying, like, when you pick a particular collectible to start buying up, are you looking at undervalued NFTs, or are you looking at something that, like, what's the mindset? I'm just curious.
Okay,
And what attracts you?
Yeah, the mindset is okay. I feel like some collectibles are undervalued, and it has to also be with personal conviction of like my love for the NFT. You understand? So there are some that I talked about on Twitter, and there are some I don't talk about on Twitter that I have a whole lot of. You understand? Okay, for example, I've been buying the white lambit, and people don't even know that I've been buying that up. But I've just been buying it up, like slowly and stuff like that, and I've been accumulating them. So I feel like okay, there are so many NFT that are undervalued now. I don't think people really know what they have. And I've noticed that because sometimes you just find people selling their collectibles for a ridiculous amount of money, and there are some. Okay, there was a guy. He came to me, and it was like, okay, he had to sell his 73, his entire collectibles in his account, about 73 of them. He sold it to me. I bought it from him and stuff like that. And I asked him. He said he's losing money, like lost money and stuff like that. That what he bought some weeks ago wasn't what he bought. Like, that was I'm talking about like a month ago. You understand? So I look at it. I was like, no, there has to be a way. Why was Donny that expensive? Bubbles and expensive and all that. So I feel like okay, fine. These collectibles are undervalued. So I have to buy them up. But me for like Superman, for instance. I saw that Superman, by the time Master Collector comes in, everybody will need Superman because it's easy to complete. Starfire, Butter, Superman, they are single set on their own. They can complete the set. So when you come to VeVe, what do you look at? Those are the NFTs that you look at. You look at those ones like they are easy to get and they are easy to complete the set. It's better than like, you trying to complete Batman Series 1, Series 2 and all that. You understand?
Sure,
So
makes
I
sense.
see potential in that, like, okay, fine. People are gonna need this. If I have a whole lot of them, definitely, like I can definitely I don't need to have all of them, to qualify for the master collector or something. But if I have a whole lot of them, a lot of people are gonna come and they're gonna need it. You understand? So that is when I can pull them like, okay, fine, this is the price that I'm on for them. You understand? Just like me buying him like the HIM and buying barbers and all that, I had to pay, you understand? I had to respect the prices that they are and I have to pay for them just like Queen 19 and stuff like that, I still pay for them. So I just feel like okay, this is okay, maybe I wasn't so lucky about the season one because I didn't come to VeVe. Like I came to VeVe very late. So it's an opportunity for me to be able, to get season what's it called? This season 2 or something like that. And that's what I've been doing. And I don't plan to stop. I'll definitely want to buy those undervalued collectibles and all that.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, I want a question. Does mint counts? This is for anybody too, right? And anyone like does that really come into play with people? I guess the total mint counts. I see some of the prices on some things, and the mint count and the prices just don't add up when you're looking at the mint count and the prices of something real comparable. So where do people kind of like bounce off? Is it like the mint count or the total, or is it? It seems like the name, like the rare, the designation is kind of means more to some people than just like the main count, because you can kind of say something is rare, and it's just, well, I'll stop there. But what are people's ideas on that?
Andy, that's like one thing that I've been looking into a lot lately as well, because I was curious about that as well, and I was just I found that yeah, when you have all these NFTs, like 1,000 that all look the exact same, the only thing that's differentiating all of them is this mint number. So it just becomes this psychological factor that comes into play, and goes into the game theory of it, and just someone getting like a number 1, which we know we can't get in this, but let's just say like a number 50 sounds a lot more enticing than someone that has the 1,000. It's like, hey, like I got to the line first, maybe bragging rights or clout or something, and it could be something else completely that I'm not aware of, and I would actually be curious what other people's opinions are on this as well.
The part
Hey,
that
everybody, this is Chad from NFT Pirates, and I just want to jump in quickly because we do a lot of reviews on the mints, and have kind of talked about the importance of kind of low serial numbers from the beginning. And the biggest thing that we see is that the trend is really looking as though that it's replacing kind of the grading system in some fashion. So with cards, you have a PSA grading system in place where something can be up to a 10 gem mint. And with collectibles, because people like to have differentiators within the collectible itself, a lot of times they use the serial number as a way to, have a higher or lesser importance of that particular collectible. So that's another reason why people are interested in that. And then I think another big thing is just issued on the blockchain earlier as well. But those are just a few points that I just wanted to bring up, because it's one of those things that we actually noticed the trend early on when we first joined VeVe, and we noticed it from trading that every time we would do a trade, somebody would always send their highest edition collectible, and then that's when we started asking for those certain serial numbers.
I agree with the numbers completely. The thing that I still, it just, like, if a comment has a common designation, it's almost like a black spot on it, because I swear the Harley Quinn, the Joker, like that stuff, it's designated as common, but it just like sits there at 200 gems, and it's just like, I'm amazed, because like, you saw how big the Joker movie is, like, and Harley Quinn is just as big as Batman in just the comic world. It's just, they're just sitting there, and I think there's just like, they had this like designation of common, and I think you got to kind of shake that off, because
Totally
some of these series, have like commons that are like only up to 2,000. Some have commons up to, you got what, a 50 if you're a DeLorean. But
yeah,
Andy, I think over time that will balance out. Like you've seen it with the Givenchy, right? The rare is more important, more expensive than the ultra rares, just because people look at it and go, it's in most people's opinion, it's a better NFT. I think over time you'll see that balance out. So those FA Harlequin, that was the first, and the Joker, they were like my first collectibles I ever bought, and I'm still amazed they're down there so low. Like even a few weeks ago they were even lower, right? So I feel like over time the savvy people will realize that, hey, they're FAs, and it doesn't matter if they were first labeled as a common or a rare or an ultra rare. They'll judge it based on the the aesthetic of it, the importance of it, and the FA element to it. It's the FA Harlequin, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like undoubtedly that down the track is going to have a lot higher value.
yeah, because let me tell you, they made a whole bunch of like New Mutants number 98, Deadpool's first appearance, and that really doesn't hurt the value of it these days. Just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey,
Popularity is
Jason,
a key factor.
Sorry to talk over you, Chad. Jason here. Question for you. There are certainly outliers that don't fit the rule there, such as, if you have a Donnie out of 150, if you've got number like 140, you're still sitting pretty compared to most NFTs. But do you think with those low mint NFTs, people are still shooting for low mints, or does that kind of go out the door?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, Well, I honestly think it still would matter. I just think that we're not seeing a lot of these values go higher currently because something's already very expensive and the market's not saturated enough yet. So I would argue if you had 2-3 million more users, and especially some more high rollers, then you might start seeing those larger distinctions within these expensive collectibles like a Donnie. Because I agree, right now you're at 40K price point for a Donnie. I think it's anybody that gets it is exceptionally excited. But I would
Chad,
argue,
did you look at your serial number when you bought your gold Mugli recently? Congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you care about the serial?
For me, I
Are you
did a
asking
little
me?
bit, but at that point, at that entry, you're just excited to have the collectible. And that's one thing I do want to emphasize as well, is that as much as I do think low serials play a component in collecting, I definitely am just excited to have any collectible. And I'm not saying that the low serials is going to matter for everyone, but I do think if we're talking about the high rollers and the big collectors in the future, I think if somebody has a really, big kind of interest in something like, the dad bod Batman, they would definitely go over and try to get a number 41 as an example. But I do think it pertains to fewer people, but those people that do like the serials really go hard on them.
I agree. No, and I'm not challenging you. I was more curious of your opinion because that's, you have a lot of experience talking with many people. I enjoy your channel.
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely. I think you're very candid,
For
very
Chad,
honest.
right?
And
Sorry, mate.
yeah,
Was it the only differentiator with these collectibles is the serial number? Like, it's the only differentiator, and people will always try and find differentiators in anything they collect. Like, it's not like the print quality is lesser or whatever else. It's apart from what goes hand in hand, the mint number and being on the blockchain earlier is the only differentiator. So people will always gravitate to it. Plus, I think, David, you said it before, right? There will be people who always want to buy a certain mint number. They just have affinity to the number 61 or whatever, you know what I mean? And they will pay a premium for it. So I know I've got certain numbers that I gravitate towards, and I'll pay a slightly higher rate, whether it's a low mint or even just a random number like 1980, my birthday. I'll buy a 1980 if I see it on the market.
Right. It's like the same thing with the DeLorean. The number 88 is going for probably a shit ton more than maybe, the 78. And then people are going for, the triple digits that are the same, the 111, the 777. I got this one guy that keeps offering me 777s and 888s for crazy amounts of money. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm just trying to get low mints. But now I'm almost thinking maybe I do want the 777. That's my lucky number, but it's hard to justify spending so much more when you're like, well, I can get the 787 for, a fraction of the price. So yeah, these numbers are very psychological to people.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the VeVeVerse, because when there's more utility and you're more just surrounded by collectibles, if the mint number is not forward facing and people are just more concerned about having these collectibles, then you might start to see, some of that wear off a little bit. But I do think, like I said, for the big collectors and people that are really interested in these things, they'll definitely go for those, low mints. And one thing I just wanted to mention quickly was, there are a lot of people looking at trying or attempting to complete the entire first season. And, if we just take Donnie limited to 150 editions, then we know that everything they're collecting has to be a sub 150. And I mentioned that on a video, but it's those kind of things that you'll start to see more prominently, I think, as we do see the mass adoption. And right now it's kind of trial and error. But once you have, millions of users and you're looking at 2,500 collectibles and there's a following that's really interested in those collectibles, I could start seeing that those little intricate distinctions being a lot more emphasized than they are now.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I was asking if it's possible during the last AMA if we could have some kind of toggle on-off switch showing the mint number that would be in the virtual showroom, for instance. You're showing it off on Instagram, Twitter, to friends around the world. People are making it into their profile picture. And it's like, if you can be traveling through this and you could see a transparent icon of your mint number, I think that would add a whole nother value to this whole collectible thing.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and I hope, Jermaine, man, your 888 rarity coming out. That's going to be going over 1,000. People are going to be clamoring for that one.
Yeah, that one's sick. I told him we were messaging about an hour ago, and I said that one is going to be really, really hard to get. I'm excited to try for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to be happy just getting any of these on any of these drops. It's going to be definitely just a prize getting any mint number on these.
Does
One
anybody
thing
else
that
that hasn't spoken have any questions? Maybe for Ray or even for Alex, possibly, or for Jermaine or for Khozik or anybody up here. We could keep the conversation moving a little bit. Maybe somebody
I know
wants
Wendy
to
had a
say
question,
hello.
Mike.
Go ahead, bro. What's that? Oh, Wendy. Yay, Wendy.
No, I just wanted to ask to Ray, what does he think about people calling him like the Robin Hood of VeVe?
Well, and anyway, like I said earlier, I wasn't. I'm in VeVe because I love it and because I love everything about it and it makes me happy. Trust me, I'm not gonna lie about that. It makes me really happy. So I don't know, like I've seen a whole lot of nicknames and stuff like that. I'm just enjoying the community and enjoying VeVe. Like just enjoying everything that comes with it. So that's all. So I don't know, like about the Robin Hood stuff. Trust me, I don't know. I'm just collecting. That's all.
Thank you, Ray.
Oh,
I
you're
think
welcome.
I think you have a lot of fans out there. They are
Yeah,
always asking for you, trying to keep in contact with you, and they are very grateful with you. So keep doing the
yeah,
great work.
yeah. Thanks, thanks a lot. I appreciate that, and tell them to stop dumping.
I will.
All right, that's fine. That's great. All right, thanks to see you out here.
Thank you.
And for those
All
of
right.
you that don't know Wendy, I want to give a nice shout out to Wendy because she's been very monumental in fighting off and fending off a lot of scammers out there. And she's been through her own personal bullshit in the last couple weeks, and yet she still keeps beating her chest and working through this for a greater cause. And I
Yeah, if Ray
appreciate you,
thinks
Wendy.
he's Robin Hood, Wendy's Maid Marian.
There we
Sure.
go.
Cheers to Wendy. She's definitely a huge part of the community, and she has a lot of integrity and a lot of trust in the community for sure. And I know a lot of people appreciate that.
Repping VeVe
Thank
down
you,
in
guys.
Mexico.
Mexico, right from Mexico City, one of my favorite places.
Yes, please come here to celebrate. Maybe in Cancun, party in Cancun, VeVe family. Thank you, guys.
Party at Wendy's
Thank you,
place.
Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy.
Oh,
You're awesome.
no problem.
Tú
No,
eres
thank
la
you.
piedra.
Ay, gracias.
De nada.
I see we have Chef Dizzy down at the bottom. I don't know if he wants to say hello or whatever. Chef Dizzy, we met very early on when I was getting into VeVe, and he's one of the real VeVe OGs. Been around for a long, long time. Knows everybody. What's up, bud? I don't know if you're available to say hello.
Yeah, I'm here, man. Thanks for inviting me up to speak, and just wanted to say what's up to everybody. Ray, Jermaine, Cameron. It's always a good time over here in the clubhouse. And yeah, hey Ray, I just wanted to say, man, I really appreciate the vigor that you brought back into the VeVe market. It was kind of a depressed scene until you came on and you started raising floors like a real champ. And I
Yeah,
think it really just brought a lot of excitement back into the market for a lot of us who even though we see the future, the problem is when you see the future and you know where you're going, well then you have to wait. Just because you know where things are going doesn't mean that you're going to be there in any quick amount of time. And so yeah, I felt like things were really slow, and then you kind of publicly just started buying up a lot of things, and it kind of brought the ebb and flow of the market back when things were kind of looking grim. So thanks for that, brother.
yeah. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
I guess Jermaine, while I have you guys here, Jermaine, I was wondering, you know, what is the what what's like the rest of your subject matter like? I mean, I imagine all your art isn't about rabbits. And where do you draw that from for your inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the rabbits are one part of it. But I mean, the art. I mean, it. You know, man, I kind of the same way that like that we all have sort of avatars on all of these social media apps. I kind of feel like the art or my art is sort of like an avatar of like just my whole thing, you know, my life or whatever. So, you know, and when I was coming up, you know, I always enjoyed reading about artists who like if you looked at their artwork, you could kind of get a clue as to what was happening in their lives. Um, so like if you look at whatever, you look at Picasso and like, oh, it's his rose period. And then you look at his life and he's like, there was good things happening. And then, suddenly now all of the stuff is gloomy and blue. Oh, it's his blue period because his best friend died. You know, it's like the art is sort of a reflection of what's going on. So there's a lot of different looks. I mean, I think aesthetically, I have a style that runs through everything that I do so that people can see it and go like, okay, that feels like a Jermaine piece. But I kind of like to offer different looks um, because you know that's how my life is, dude. I don't feel the same way every day, and I change my mind about shit all the time. So the art kind of follows that.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that. And I guess if Keen, if you'll allow me one final question. The other day I was in this clubhouse and Frank Khozik was in there and he was speaking and he actually said something that surprised me about flippers, and he said that he really appreciates the flippers because they establish the value and they get the art out to other people who really want it. And I was just wondering what was your opinion on the role of I guess the resellers in this ecosystem. Would you prefer everybody to buy and hold? Do you appreciate the flippers? I mean, what do you think about the secondary art sales in general?
Me? Are you asking me that?
Yes, sir. Please, if you don't mind.
Okay. I'll tell you something, man. Like, you know, when I was doing like poster art and stuff, like I remember when eBay, for instance, was like a brand new thing. And that was this period in the late 90s where like I was really sort of anti eBay because I was all, you know, everybody should have a shot and you know and you know and I would like I even did a poster like um that said death to eBay on it or something like that. Like back in the late 90s or 2000. No, it was like 2001 or something like that. And you know, man, like I had a little period of time where I was on like this anti-flipper thing and whatever, dude. I probably changed 0 people's minds. And you know, it's a real luxury if you can complain as an artist about flippers. You know, it's like, you know, your work is in demand to the point to where it can be flipped. It is a flippable commodity. So, you know, I'm not getting on artists who like are fighting that fight, but I don't know, man. I've sort of mellowed on that stuff. I feel like everybody is playing a part and flippers do play a part. Will I say that I don't will I say that I would like people who really love the art to get it to have a chance at getting it at a good price? Of course. Of course. But at the same time, you know, I know how like the real world is. And so yeah, I mean that's one of those landmine questions. But I mean for me, I don't have a real problem with flippers. I've sort of mellowed on that. But I do feel like that needs to be a significant quantity of the product that can be had by a buyer who wants to collect it and not just invest in it.
Thank you, man. That's a great answer. I really appreciate the perspective.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Hey, Chef, while you're in, how's your own little project going? You want to give us a little update on that?
Project's going good, and we're steadily working on it. I mean, the truth is, animation is difficult. It's a lot more difficult than still images. Instead of one still image, there's 50 or 100 still images that go into creating just one seamless animation, and so it's been kind of a challenge going through it, but we're trucking
Want to let
along,
the
and
room know
hopefully.
what the name of the project is and where they can find
Oh
out about
yeah,
it?
sure. So yeah, we're the Junkyard Dogs, and we're an animal profile picture project that has been kind of put together by a team of really avid VeVe and NFT collectors, and you know we're out here trying to produce a really high quality, good level of art project, as well as a community, and we have some cool utility and function and collaborations as far as the metaverse. And actually, we're I saw a really awesome mock-up model today. But all I'm going to say is, if you like the book by Dr. Seuss, Go Dogs Go, then you're really going to love what we have in store for Junkyard Dogs. So yeah, you can follow us on Junkyard Dogs NFT on Twitter. We have a pretty cool Discord doing a lot of giveaways and meme contests right now to bide the time. But yeah, thanks for asking, Mark.
Like hearing that there's some animation. That's sad.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
Are you saying that everyone will come with a little animation?
That's right.
Or?
That's 100% correct. Every single one of our avatars will be fully animated, and we're trying to be the first project to do that, and for good reason. It's actually much more ambitious than just doing a simple static image. So not that all static images are simple, but
we felt a bit bad for you because there's been about 5 dog projects in the last month or so, hasn't there?
yeah,
so,
you know what? But I'm a little biased when I say it, but they don't look good. To me, they don't look good. And maybe I'm biased, but I feel like you can really tell that the difference between a cash grab where they're rushing through the assets, they're just trying to get a number of assets together, they can quickly generate something and sell it, and I feel like the quality will really distinguish itself in the future. So, but yeah, it hurts a little bit seeing all the other dog projects, but it's a dog eat dog world out there, and we ain't scared.
Oh, best of luck with it.
Hey there, can you guys hear me?
Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, man.
We got you.
Hey, this is Miguel. I had a question for Frank and Jermaine. I was just wondering if you guys had started collecting on the VeVe app, and if so, what's your favorite brand or collectible?
I was going to let Frank answer first, since you mentioned him first. Is he still here?
Looks like not, actually.
I think it's dinner time in Frank's
Well,
world.
I'll say this. I've been on the sidelines. I've been lurking, but I think I'm about to start getting into it now that I kind of have figured it out from both ends. And looking at what I see on the platform, my favorite stuff that I've seen on the platform so far, I mean, I'll say, as far as ideas go, I like the idea of the Batman stuff. I like the idea of like a series of the same character interpreted by all these different artists. Like, that is really cool. I think like that right there is like a category that I can see VeVe doing that with you know, any character. You just pick a
I'll be
character
back in a
and
second.